contrast, Entropic won one game. They beat 100 ping gods, thus earning themselves a minimal advantage. Entropic finished third in the group with a score of 2-2 in matches won and lost. Consequently, the guys became the very team that had to fight for the 5th place and got the last chance to get into the playoffs. In the meantime, we can congratulate those who showed the highest level of gameplay in this tournament, our 4 finalists. Gambit, Natus Vincia, Team Spirit, K23. The teams showed incredible skill and once again proved that they are the best. We are looking forward to seeing them at the major. Legendary teams, major players, and electrifying tactical action are back in CSGO Regional Major Rankings 2021. From June 27th till July 4th, 10 teams will clash in the thrilling showdown for the prize pool of $100,000 and slots at the PGL Major Stockholm 2021. Who will win more rounds? Who will show the most furious play? And who will claim the
What's going on, guys, and welcome to day 1 of the playoff stage here for the StarLadder CIS RMR. My name is James Banks, and I'll be your host throughout the next couple of days. And joining alongside me on the desk throughout, we've got Duncan Foreign Shields, we've got Vendetta. I'm going to start with you, Duncan. It's been a while, but it wouldn't be a StarLadder event without you, would it, mate?
Indeed. Here's the thing. In the end, it turned out with all those complicated relationships, I just needed someone else who only cares about their own self-interest. Perfect. You know? I found the right relationship there. They like people who got big names. I like money. So that we can help each other.
It works very well. Ben, man, you balancing the coach and talent life at the same time. How you doing? Oh, can't hear Ben.
Yeah,
we have a muted Vendetta, so we'll just keep on moving. He'll fix himself out, you know. It's online. It's the start of it. He needs to wake up. We'll take a look at these overall standings of where we're at in terms of the RMR points, the all-important points to get everyone on through to the major. And we'll see who right now is on top in terms of team spirit. Not looking bad at all for them. Navi and Gambit up there as well. Okay, this Akuba one. Gonna have to touch on it, Duncan. They really shit the bed, didn't they?
Yes. Put it this way, like already people had like skepticism about obviously the last RMR's results from Akuma specifically, and the fact that they were basically non-existent in this tournament doesn't make it look good. So, I mean, luckily it doesn't look as though they're probably going to make it to the major anyway, but I'm not really sure what narrative they're building on at this point in time.
There is no narrative anymore for these guys. Ben, are you with us? Can we hear you? No, he's still not there.
All right, then. It's like Akuma, never turned up. When it mattered.
Definitely. Another team that didn't turn up, though, you got to look at Virtus Pro and start to consider what on earth's been going on with these guys, right? Because at one point we come to earlier in the year, they're looking like a fantastic solid team, like they're making their way back in. We talk about Yakinda. We saw James kind of have his own rise back into form. But this RMR, this is not acceptable for a team at this level.
Yes, I mean, when people look at the playoffs, obviously these top 4 teams here in points actually are our playoff teams. The real surprise is obviously K23, because that team's not the big name that you expect to be there. The 4th name, another of the top 10 teams in the world, is Virtus Pro. Normally they are a very, very good team, especially, by the way, normally they do pretty well against CIS teams even. So I found this very shocking, because I thought they were kind of like a shoo-in to make that other playoff spot.
Yeah, completely agree. And okay, we have to always mention Gambit because of how dominant they are right now. They're on a crazy win streak as a team. But the one thing that I always see that's very interesting here about Gambit is that they don't drop down to these lesser teams, right? They play their A game. Okay, they might lose a map here or there, but as a team, as winning the series, they just compete and they deliver every time.
Yeah, I mean, one of the craziest things about that team for me is when you go and you look at their map win records, which are unbelievable across basically the entire map pool, they just don't lose to bad teams. It's ridiculous. No. You basically have to be like Navi with simple Goy God mode, or you have to be like a Virtus Pro. You have to basically be the best teams in the world and have your A game, and then you might win maps off them. So, as you say, normally a tournament like this, you're supposed to actually get a little bit wild because, you know, you don't know what it's like to play Entropic or Force or some team that's not on the same level. But as you say, Gambit just keeps rolling no matter what.
Do you think that like part of that is to do with them kind of working in their like way up when they played a lot of these smaller tournaments alongside the tier 1 tournaments, because they don't seem to really struggle with it?
I'm not sure, because I will say something about their style of play also just translates fantastically against playing every level of competition. Like, normally you would actually say the Astralis type of control style should actually mean you get a few upset losses when the team basically doesn't play like the traditional meta. Maybe people just do crazy rushes, or they don't understand the positional plays you're making. But somehow it never matters to Gambit. They just roll through everyone no matter what.
No, they really do. Vendetta, are you there now? I can see you.
I mean, I should be here. Hopefully, it's coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah, no idea what happened there, really. But there you go. Yeah, there you go. You know, it's technology. It's fickle. But
it is technology.
Back at it.
That is where we're at with it all. So obviously today, the games we're starting with, right? We've got Gambit taking on K23. A one which obviously Gambit's going to come in heavily favoured. Then you got the rematch for Navi versus Spirit, and that adds some extra spice to this all, because obviously Navi dropped down to them before then. Yeah,
no, they did in the last RMR. So this is going to be really exciting to see. Obviously, I think we're seeing a little bit more, I guess, woken up Navi compared to what we've done in previous RMRs. Obviously, the only loss coming against Gambit. So I'm expecting Navi to kind of showcase themselves as the better team in that series.
Yeah, completely agree, right? But for me, Navi are the opposite to what we were talking about with Gambit, Duncan, in the sense that Navi can just drop games which you go, okay, there's no way you should be losing this. And again, we start to look at the holes within this team.
Yeah, Navi is notorious, obviously, for being the team that, despite the fact they can technically win any tournament, they can lose to almost any team right now in the online era. And by the way, especially hype storyline for this tournament, doubly so when they're CIS teams. Like, somehow, if your flag's like Ukraine, Russia, you just get like a plus 30% buff to beat Navi, apparently. Yet, then bizarrely, we all know they're the one team you think have a chance against Gambit, so they are the ultimate, like, give and take team.
Yeah, I really look at that, Ven, as like a way of, maybe it's if it means more to them, you know, playing in the against the big teams, and they don't really care so much about these lesser teams, even though they desperately need these points.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, they play to the level of their opponent at times, but again, when it comes down to it, when they actually have their backs against the wall, they usually come through. So it rarely has a massive impact on their overall standings. Like, even if you go back to the previous RMRs last year, then they still would have made it through. They still would have been at the major. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's all good for Navi. But obviously, you'd like for them to show consistently that they just can put away lesser teams, or assumed lesser teams, at least even from their own region.
Now, let's start to get into our opening game, right? We touched on Gambit a little bit already, but they're going up against K23, who right now, right, they probably weren't a team that anyone expected even to make it towards the playoff stages, Duncan.
No, as I said, like, Virtus Pro was basically supposed to just waltz into that spot, and we would have had 4 of the top 10 teams in the world as the playoffs of the CIS RMR, which, by the way, that just shows you how much the CIS regions come on in leaps and bounds. There was a time they probably had the 3rd best of the RMRs. Now they have inarguably, I'd say, the best of the RMRs if you're talking about elite level competition. So K23 certainly a surprise to be here. But if you look at the lineup, you will see names you remember. I mean, obviously K23 is a legendary name from Kazakhstani Counter-Strike, and 2 of the names in the team, they've already won majors, boys. It's Mo and Adren, who obviously were in Gambit with Hobbit. Like, we're talking 4 years ago now when they won, funnily enough, the other PGL major, PGL Krakow. So, listen, even though I will say they're not at the level they used to be, like, unfortunately, they haven't had the return that Hobbit has had, where he's winning all these MVPs, is amazing. But the level of experience is incredible. And they will have played against players like the Gambit players. Obviously, a bunch of them were in Gambit. So, to me, if anything, it's maybe a game where we could have, like, you could freeze the form, forget about it. And I'm sure the K23 players won't be, like, massively intimidated by playing these players. They know them inside out.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't. Well, let's start to look at what maps we're going to get and break down this veto that'll be coming on through. Because, like you mentioned, Duncan, already, that we look at Gambit's map pool, and things are pretty damn good for these guys. They don't really struggle on anything. They can play into it all.
Yes, and the tough part here is, like, these are the obvious bans. Like, you're always going to get these. In terms of the picks, like, that's not a terrible pick if you're the guys from K23, because it's their best map by far. The problem is, like, there are no bad maps if you're playing against Gambit, basically. Like, they're just the monsters everywhere. So they actually had the choice themselves between probably Dust 2 Mirage. They've gone with Mirage again. Funnily enough, it's not supposed to be a tactical map, but that's the other part about Gambit. That's the secret as to why they're so good. They have 3 players that average, like, MVP level numbers. So even on maps like Mirage, they can tear you up.
Yeah, they really can. And then that's one thing we look at when it comes to Gambit. They can be this tactical heavy. They play into these defaults, and then they surprise you. They do their research and homework on these teams, but then they can also just overrun you with pure individual skill.
Yeah, and they have this like perfect blend of being structured and being unpredictable as well. You'll see Gambit a lot of times in mid-round situations where you're playing 3v3s and so on, where they'll just have players go off on their own, and that's perfectly fine because, as you mentioned, the individual skill that they possess allows them to have, a guy like Exile on the opposite side of the map just kind of roam around and see if it can actually open up sites or open up space for the others at any given point, and it makes them pretty much impossible to play against in terms of like figuring out exactly what's going on with them.
Now, Duncan, I'm gonna take you back to when we were doing New York. I think it was 2018 or so. And do you remember when Blade was telling us all about Axar's gonna be like the next star, and then he kind of dropped off? They removed him from the main team. His resurgence has been incredible, right? Just to turn up and deliver to be one of the best in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy part about their team is, like, you already saw people like Shiro already had the numbers when they were the Gambit youngsters and they would stop liners, etc. But yeah, it's the development of Axel, because he was the player that was in the Gambit at the end when, as you say, Blade was their coach, and that was like the new player they were trying to bring through with some of the other names that you obviously might remember from the other teams. So to me, that's like they've found money there. I don't know how they got this player who was already in the scene, and he just seems to have made a transformation in the last, I'd say, like 6 to 9 months. He's just become like 5 times better as a player, and then you brought Hobbit back from the dead. So the team now, it's actually unbelievable that in a tournament as stacked as this, they arguably have the best skilled lineup as well as the best team in the tournament.
Yeah, you certainly got to be scared of anything that Gambit will throw at you with it. But when we look over to the K23 side of Vendetta, is there some of the mix of experience with some of these younger players coming in there? We have a chance to say they might be able to get a map here.
I think it's a fair shout. Their Inferno has been really, really good as of late. They've taken maps off of, or they've won Inferno versus both Spirit and VP in the group stages. So is obviously a good sign, and I think we've seen pretty promising form from the guys who you might expect to drop a little bit off, the guys with less experience like Fame. And he's been doing well for himself. And I think also Norbert is always a wild card. He's that typical CIS player who can drop 35 on you any given day. Sure. And if that happens, then yeah, K23 definitely stands a chance to at least grab a map here versus Gambit.
Now, I know when it came to our predictions, we all went for Gambit, obviously, with this one, but I just see this as a way of Gambit just going to do their typical run over here. I don't really expect too much from K23, but I guess we got to give them their credit, Duncan, the fact that they got here in the first place.
Sure. I mean, as I said as well, to me, just when you also, like, essentially, if you're someone like a Dren and Moore, you're not really scared of Gambit. You know they're better than you, but you actually don't have the factor of intimidation. So, yeah, I think there's certainly a possibility with Mirage and Just 2. We can have at least one map be fun.
Well, let's see if it is going to be some fun. But two guys who will certainly deliver the fun is Sadakist and Moses, who will taking you through the opening game here today between Gambit and K23.
Yes, thank you very much, James. We are going to get into this one. Gambit yesterday, we saw them have an excellent match in series against Navi. It was a treat to get in the group stage because it meant both teams were already through. And it might be a sample of what we're going to get in the finals. But right now, first and foremost, Gambit needs to continue on with not getting upset by lower teams. As Duncan said, they seem to have a way of avoiding that problem. Other teams struggling with it. Certainly, Virtus Pro comes to mind in this event, Jason. So Baum waiting inside of the apartments, wants to bust out and try and get inside. But like you say, with this many players here, Hobbit has so much information on Banana. In fact, he's going to start pushing down and flanking. So the chance of them even going back is less. Smoke in front of Library. Enters and Exile trying to work together. Enters to get the kill. Exile follows it up, and Enters gets 3 in total from behind the box. Hobbit's got the flank done. Very clean and concise from Gambit. Shots from Fame. Hang on. How many times are we going to see a Deagle absolutely destroy rounds Seemingly not enough. Hobbit and Axel have to pull it back to 3, but then Axel gets run down. We've called him the king of the multi-kill in the group stages, and as they touched on the desk, he's certainly been someone that's found form, but today, so far, hasn't found multis yet. He'll get dropped this time as they round over at quad. Bomb to be planted. Hobbit has to wait out at small pit or moto. Take your pick. And Navi will go on the flank from quad with the MP9. So Deagle at the start at range, just destroying this round for the early pick of Shiro. Nafi's throwing it down a little bit. I thought Hobbit had that. Double dink either way, but the M4 wins for Million, and that means now Nafi has to get Mo. He knows one's low inside of the site. He would have heard that dink through the wall as well, but he's looking toward pit. He gets through quickly. He's got the mobility, but no kid on the play, and he's down already. Good response from K23.
And yeah, all time, or excuse me, yeah, 2-1 in the favor of K23. Nice, clean, and easy round. They've got plenty of rifles built up as well, and Gambit going to be on the back foot early. We'll see. The question, I think, is got to be how long can K23 actually hold on to this run and maintain this lead, and how much it's going to grow. Good kills from Nafi, and ooh, look how low Adren is. Molotov going to force him back to the fall, and what a desperate situation. Good finds at the end for Gambit. That is well played from Nafi. He gets 2 kills, but give him that third just for the effort. A lot of money taken away from K23, and Gambit, unfortunately, not going to be able to reinvest into this round, but they do have 2 AK-47s. They can drop that 5.7 over. Inters has a Deagle, so some dangerous elements to this round for K23 if they're not careful.
So the 2 AKs, a decent pickup, trying to turn back and make amends with the fact that they were ecoed. We've seen so many pistols not converted this week. Becoming all too common. Looks like they're going to go for a half-wall boost, or think better of it, no one being aggressive this time for Gambit out toward the banana position. There is 3 on the B side, so they've certainly wanted to secure this part of the map, and it'll be the first time we actually see a bit of aggression from K23 and Banana, because as I mentioned, they've been going toward A in every other round, and with decent success, you'd have to say. Hobbit with a 5.7 wants to play off his teammates, expect a smoke to go in his position, but Shiro has one of the AKs at Coffins. CT's going to buy themselves a bit of time, and immediately K23 is actually going to back off that just with the smoke in position, so 50 seconds to work with, still a good amount of time to play out the map, but a solo anchor now on the A site. They're actually still going to go K23. This is risky. Because you've got both AKs on the B side of the map now. And look how close Hobbit is. That smoke dissipating, though, is going to reveal Nafi's position. Hobbit pulls 1 back at least on Adren. But Hobbit has to fall off oranges too. Good Molotov came over, bounced off Skybox, and he has nowhere to hide with 2 HP. He thinks the smoke's the best place to be, and Shiro's gonna find fame. So the AK's starting to find their own, but one's down. Again, Nafi had that. It's on the ground on entry, and that's a huge problem. They can't get back to it. Hobbit tries to shuffle out, and he's heard by Nelian, who immediately gets 2 kills, follows up and hits Shiro at New Box. And bomb to be planted? No, they didn't count for inters. He will be found and go down. 9 seconds, plant to come in, and Axile trying to rotate over and shut this down, but he's they actually go for behind Fountain. Luckily, he doesn't spot them, so they'll get the bomb plant in, and it should be K23 to win out this round.
I think Axile, yeah, that's tough. You're just kind of hoping and praying you can catch someone off guard at low HP. What a brawl. Gambit with that stack. K23 not wanting to fall all the way back because they'd already committed 5 players to Banana. They just clear the flank and go right back for the hit. But that could have gone either way. 2-round lead for K23 into the first gun round. Shiro's got his AWP in hand. Mo has his AWP as well. And here we go. No kits picked up for the Gambit side, so those retakes got to come quick. But good amount of utility.
So a Dren trying to find a position. Interestingly enough, this was one of the maps that was in the major final back in 2017, the last time PGL hosted a major. So interesting. That was an upset win in a lot of ways. They were an underdog Gambit, and they won in Krakow. This time, they arguably go into the major cycle as the favorites.
Yeah,
but
I'd say so.
Yeah, but Adren and Mo, obviously, they were on that team. So this is interesting. We've got 3 of those guys back together. Hobbit, the other one, he's still staring in a position where he made his most famous play in the finals. That CT connector, water on B. But my, how the turntables, Jason, because, yeah, they are the favorites this time.
That's going to be pretty cool. Pretty cool to see how the rest of the year is going to play out as lands start to come back. Smoke, Molotov, flashbang towards the B bomb site, applying some pressure, but it's all a ruse. They are going to go back towards A. Axile inside the bomb site, inters as well. A little bit of a crossfire setup. And I think they're starting to get the indication. They're starting to hear the utility come out. Molotov to delay things, but Axile and inters and a 2-on-4. Hobbit is slowly showing up just now.
Need to go on the Hobbit, as you say, getting in position. Tag down to 22. At the exchange. Axile in the corner this time. Good for only 1. He drops again. They're trading so well on the K23 side, and immediately Gambit goes back to saving. It's going to be a 4-1 scoreline. With 9 seconds left, the bomb will be planted, and the round should be secured on the back of it.
These hits are so slow. Like, all the utilities coming out from K23, but they're not actually moving up with it quite yet. They're waiting for the counter utility. They're patiently waiting for that Molotov in lane to go away. They're patiently waiting for the nade to come out. And coming in, and the hit's actually coming delayed after all of the counter utility is spent. 4-1. Very, very good trades. Double kill for Norbert.
Not going to actually face. Would have been a good upgrade to an AK from a FAMAS had he have gone for that, but there's a look in. K23. Got to be happy. There's a Dren.
Yeah, this is like...
I mean, everyone on Gambit played so well in that major. I know we're going way back, but it's important context in a lot of ways coming into the major again. You know, Mo was exceptional. Dren was awesome. Doja played really well also. There's one that's...
Remember, that was also like the breakout year of Hobbit when he was also like kind of became a big name. But yeah, it was a Dren who figured out a way to roll back the years, turned into a I don't even know a vampire, and was able to just teleport himself back to his old powers of 1.6. That's even going way further back. Good pop flash, good swing, drive by from Hobbit, but the ult is forced forward because of the flames, and they cannot escape after that initial success.
Of course, the 5th on that team, of course, was Zeus, who had been cut from Navi and left, went over to Gambit, made a point by winning a major, and then...
Look at Axile, Matt.
Navi took him back. You're right. Exile's in decent position, bottom side of middle right now. Bombs toward T-stairs, and Nealon's going to be running toward that. Exile's going to hear him because he doesn't think there's anyone down middle and hasn't slowed down at all. Does he consider checking it? AK versus AK. It's going to be Exile, bomb down. exposed to the bottom of Banana, but he can still hold the position. That's going to give Nafny a bit of space, and it's going to be Mo that's desperately charging back toward 50 seconds. Fame will find Nafny, who wanted to secure the site. Shoulder peek by Axal reveals that the AK, or rather, excuse me, the AWP has gone down, but Inters catches out Fame on the AK going the other direction. But Adren is gone. It doesn't matter because Mo's picked up the bomb, and he'll be able to rotate it over toward A, and this is a race now for Inters. No kit in the play, no utility either, just the Deagle to work with. And he's going to go toward top middle to see if he can pick up a weapon, but there's none there because that was one of his teammates to get the kill. There actually should have been one, but either way, Mo's grabbed that AK on the way by. So it would only be the AWP. And he's not feeling it. So Inter's in the 1v1 to find Mo. Mo's keeping his head down inside of the site, not wanting to reveal anything, and the time is ticking faster and faster. This one's pretty much gone. If he can somehow hold Mo with the ball and get the AK, that's not going to happen as Mo gets the kill, and I think the round should reset just before detonation. It does.
All right, K23 still going with it. This is a very nice start for them. Again, it's a little bit of a sketchy round going up against the Deagles and the two weapons that were saved over, but they outlast them again. And money's pretty decent for the K23 side with this 5 rounds straight now. All off the back of those 2 Deags from Fame in the second round. Pretty disgusting run, and that's got to be frustrating. Gambit looking to get back into it. 3 players starting at the B bomb site for Banana control for the defense. Nafany's going to push down deep as well. And K23 is content to let them have it for the moment. They've just taken control of A halls.
Well, it's one way to look at it. I mean, certainly they're going to try and take the other side of the map as they lost Banana, but this is a little more aggressive from Gambit than even what we saw yesterday against Navi. We're not seeing that same sort of response from the T's in terms of utility yet on Banana. Last couple of rounds, they have put pressure there, which is ultimately led back over toward the A site, but A still seems to be their primary destination. Zav flashed out. Spots 1, but doesn't want to pursue too far on that kill. Shiro inside of Banana, boosted up on the half wall. He'll find the first onto Mo, and a second flash in. He's able to get Fame, excuse me, as well as Adren. Does at least get 1 in response, but look at the HP from him. He was tagged in that, down to 3. Good find from Nealon, and Axal's having a trouble getting into this game, getting started, because yesterday he was very early on. In every map he played, we saw it. Catches out the jump, the run boost off of Valkyrie, but now it's it has to hold the position, and a defensive smoke will cost him his life, because Nealon's able to get around the corner before his gun was drawn and ready to battle. That brings it back to a 2-on-2. He'll be thrown toward Library. Hobbit can't make the FAMAS work at range. And once again, we find ourselves with Navi. Low HP! He's got both. Bomb had to get across, and they tried to peek him together. They both go down as a result.
Not an awful double peek either. That's a good transition over from Nafany, and thank God Hobbit did the damage to make that first kill easy. This is some good shooting from Shiro to find that double kill. Good setup with the pop flash. You're right. Axal that round got caught sleeping, I think, a little bit. When you're falling back into that position, obviously got to be way more aware that someone can hold the angle from halls. And normally pro players are pretty well on top of that. Axal just getting caught there and making the defense tough. Good clutch, and now Gambit have to string it together. Only 1 player survives. They've bought everything they can. That's even with 2 SMGs, and they're down to no money. Same with K23. They finally run out of road to work with. So this is a huge round for Gambit to get back into this. If they can win this and get on top of the economy, then you close the gap in this scoreline.
A defensive smoke at the top of middle thrown immediately by Gambit this time. Minute and 23 still in the round as well, so very early utility used by the CIS. Worth noting as well, they only have 2 other smokes left, so significant. A couple incendiaries, though. They do have 3 of those, make it now 2, as Axal will put his out toward the A apartments. Shiro. Good timing to catch out on Mo. Good flash as well from Inters as that came in. Perfect to give Mo a chance in the fight. But Shiro sprays back in. No trace was really silenced. They knew he was in the door. No one to fire back. Instead, it's wrapping around from the M4 does able to knock down team and drop the bomb in the process. But crossfire as well, because not only is Inters there, you got Exile up on top of the box in corner. He's still waiting for a chance, and they boost up on triple, interestingly enough, but that puts him above the smoke, and Exile still alive in this one. Now we'll double up and get his first multi-kill as Milling goes down, and Gambit finds their third.
That's a really nice hard bait from Exile. It enters inside the site. When the smoke goes down in the front, Exile just knows he's safe. He can just chill. All he has to do is watch for them to be able to wrap around the bomb site, even had a teammate there to help. And he just patiently waits for his moment to pounce. Double kill at the end. And K23, I feel like the one of the bigger strengths of that hit was going to be their ability to wrap around. And I believe it was Shiro who just came back at the right moment to put a stop to that. So 3-5 and K23. No armor, few upgraded pistols, but they're going to have to sit around out without any great weapons and B-rush.
Oh yeah, big time. He was caught out by as well as he transitions to Coffins, but that's because he was boosting Nafi, and Nafi boosts the scoreline considerably for Gambit in this round. Shiro collects 2 on the MP9 as well, so good money for the primary AWP player, and he'll grab the AK from his deceased teammate. That worked out. Hobbit nearly got caught, but it was for good reason.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They go for that boost, and around that, it's an unarmored B rush. They could have had some nades prepared any other round, and they're doing 3 players at B, or they're pushing out towards car, and those nades and Molotovs can chew up that rush, but still handled pretty easily. No big problems. 5-4, still a 1-round lead for K23. Fame's back on the Galil, so still a few money issues.
Yeah, and this
and
is
a Hall swoosh.
Well, chance for Gambit as well. You say the money issues. If they can win this round right now, they'll break them again. Lost round bonus would be built up to 4 of those, so they're pending a bomb plant. They're in a position where they could do something with it still.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. I really like that play out of Gambit. Remember, this is what we saw them do against Navi yesterday. Some aggressive early round openings on the CT side that were giving them so many 5-on-4 advantages. This one comes back to bite them. Exile goes down early, and they got to play with the deficit and very little information as well. So a lot of relying on the initial contact of your defense, and Adren's going to try and sneak in.
Hobbit knew he was there, didn't elect to throw out the incendiary, didn't think he could walk through the smoke, and apparently neither did Nafi, and now Hobbit realizes they've got a problem and tries to desperately spray through the smoke, but no one on the receiving bullets. Inters does manage to take down Nealon, but Shiro was actually, that was actually a trade as Inters wrapped around, so Shiro fell just before that, and I have to say, Nealon's looked very good on these entries, winning a lot of crucial duels for his team. He sits at the top right now. In fact, does he ever? 12 kills for him. The next closest, 6 in Fame. 10 for the side of Gambit. That's an Inters, but yeah, very good start for Nealon.
Good opening as well on the B bomb side from Adren. He's just crouching in. That smoke towards CT spawn, that could have been for an execute. It could have been just random pressure to try and force out some counter nades, and Gambit wasn't really prepared for Adren just sneaking in like that. Single kill, and all of a sudden, once you get the kill that fast and that quietly, and you haven't cheated anyone over already in a 4-on-5, you have no business being in the round. So a quick save call from Inters and Hobbit. And K23 continuing to look good. 2-round lead, and we're going to get a timeout from Gambit.
We didn't see too many timeouts yesterday from Gambit, even up against Navi, so this is interesting. This is definitely them struggling. No, well, you could argue on Mirage they maybe did, but you're right. Otherwise, no.
Yeah, this is going to be tough to see what they come up with. I hope this single round doesn't really scare them away from some of those aggressive openings that we just saw that were around previously where Axel just got picked off. I'd still like to see him go back to it. They've got Shiro as well with the AWP who loves those kind of aggressive peaks too. He can be plenty effective with the AWP. And Gambit trying to get back into it after the timeout.
A 3-2 off spawn this time, favoring A. A little more standard, a little more default. Shiro's AWP is actually all the way over and around. No run boost. Nothing fancy to peek middle. It goes to Boiler the safe way. Bomb's actually not even going to be dropped and left. They're not wanting to play picks at this. They actually want to try and go toward top middle. Inters is backed off and gone arch. They're going to... Okay, boost above smoke to try and see quad. This is smart. Shiro backs off.
Well, they're about a second later, else they would have had a kill. That smoke was cover for Shiro to fall back from that boiler play. If they had been there just a little bit earlier, and look how close they are on halls as well. This could actually end so quickly, depending on how these kills play out when these smokes subside, or who sticks around. If Neelan's able to get one cheeky kill, it could be over. Ooh, yep, Inters have spotted it. Nade out, utility out.
That is what they needed, because they were in a position with no information, and Shiro was going to be compromised. You saw the deep-dated apartments. That means they had absolutely no idea, and still don't. That Neelan's sitting and waiting to bust out into the site. Axile's going to have to be perfect now, as he has to cover both quad and that position in pit. Instead, though, this is shaping up to look like it could be an arch rush, and the potential's there to split B if Adren can find a kill. And then that would put Neelan in a perfect position on the lurk. Hobbit's now suddenly becoming more and more aware of that as the smoke at Library very deep. That's going to be a gap. Hero can't hit the quick scope on the first, but he does on the second, and that's the bomb carrier, and that's the call for Axile to walk out. He got Neelan. That was the man we talked about that wanted to lurk in late, and then he doubles up as he always does. And it's Adren that gets nailed in the head by Shiro's AWP. Next, Mo will hunt him down, but he's really at this point just looking to do economic damage as Hobbit will come around and recover the AWP.
Yeah, really, really nice job from Gambit. Helped out, as you said, the gap in the smoke that gives Shiro the line of sight. Might have missed one, but he's not going to miss two that way. And Axile gets back to his double-killing ways. 5-6 as K23 can't pull off the slow, restrictive hit onto the A bomb site around Rap side. That's a couple of times they've gone there. At least this time they made it all the way to small pit, just couldn't get past it. Previously, they were shut down at the cubby corner. 4 AKs for the attacking side.
Hobbit. Syncopation as a decoy nade, but firing his M4 for real that time down toward the bottom side of Banana. Again, they'll work up slowly, K23, a little bit later, about minute 20 left in the round, so delaying their Banana takes, and that means utility already used up on B, partially by Gambit. We've got to be careful. Hobbit does have one more smoke, but he's the only one over there. Nathany, oh, he came so close. He actually spotted Norbert, who got the kill in return. But it's...
There's that deagle again, Matt. They've been dangerous. Opening kill. Shiro, this is a lot of transition for this defense. They got to be careful. Almost doubled up, but Hobbit moves over. Here comes the Molotovs. Here's the stet piece. Oh, Shiro really needed Hobbit, or did he? 2 kills. Neelan trades him off. And this is a tough retake. Gambit's still on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I don't even know what the call is on this. I don't think they're going to bother. Exile looking potentially for exits at this point and smoke down CT. He's going to back away from it. Another good strategy, another good play. I mean, Hobbit isolated this time on his own, and you're right, Shiro needed his help. Couldn't get it. Did manage one. I'll give him credit in that situation, but all he gets in the end in terms of the impact on entry.
It seemed, I don't want to say panicked, but it didn't seem as clean as we normally see Gambit as they shifted to new positions. I think, you know, Shiro comes in and came over to the same pillar Hobbit was at, so Hobbit had to improvise and move out over to new boxes. It seemed a little clunky as they changed positions. Regardless, 2-round lead for K23. They've maintained this 2-round lead, I mean, pretty well. It's been back and forth these past 4 rounds. Each team alternating wins.
Shiro, there it was, doing what he could on the pillar. And this time he wants to be a little more aggressive, it seems. Not going to take the safe rotation. He's going to go straight for the mid pick. His timing's decent, but elects not to go, obviously. CT side can always be taken down by a T-sided op. Jump check from Hobbit. He's got to be wrap around. They know he's there, but he in turn hears Fame coming. Now he's got to be very careful because a nadeable position at Sandbags, so the incendiaries to buy him space. Fame's come through on the back of the flash, and Nathany hears that instead. Excuse me, it was Nathany the whole time. Backside supporting him, and Nathany's going to find Adren as well. So finally a good Banana take from the CTs. They don't exactly have control of it yet, but they've done a very good job of getting the opening kills. Shiro even came around to support. They'll back away, leaving Nathany at Sandbags, though. And that will cost them the position. Look at Nealon as well.
That's fine though. I think they're more than happy about what Nathany just provided them. Look at all the utility that K23 had to spend, all the lives, all the time that they had to spend trying to take control of Banana. It's an important kill for K23 to get, but it cost them so much. And now back towards the A bomb site where Inters and Axal haven't had to use any utility quite yet. Although Nealon has sneaked up close. This could be huge because Axal won't expect such a quick turn. And Nealon could even make a play on top of the hay card if he wanted.
Yes, again. Axal down. They swing and check the corner immediately. AWP of Mo up close. Drops Inters down, and the bomb will be planted as a result. And that kill keeps the round alive. In a 1-on-2 post plant. And Mo's going to go aggressive with it as well. Bomb down inside side. He wants to wrap, knowing that they're going to be coming from B. This could be it. This could be the kill. Shadow showing. You can see the head slipping away, but he thinks he's further along the wall, and Shiro somehow gets away with the kill.
Yeah, Shiro slowly just baiting him into that peak. That was perfect. Really well done, dude. That Shadow really was just the perfect thing to pull him out into the open. Nicely done from Gambit. 6-7 off the back of that fantastic initial banana hold from Nathany. It's nice to see them actually getting an engagement there for when they've done the kind of triple play and the push out towards those sandbags. We haven't seen it too much in this half, but this time Nathany denying them all the space that they wanted, even with the follow-up peak. 2 rounds left in the half, and with that plant even, K23 still don't have the money to invest anything crazy into this round. So back to Deagles at Tech 9, 1 AK-47 on Fame.
So 4 and B, make that 5 as pulling up the rear. Nealon will join his team this time. Not going to try and look for the lurk on A. Shiro already gets one. Confirms they're on pistols. Nice shot on Mo. Good flick. Fame will get Hobbit down, though. That makes things a little less comfortable, but Nathany is still boosted up on New Box, ready for this take. If I did a flick like that, Jason, right now I'd be back in rehab. Nathany's going to take out Fame, and the boost works again for them. Shiro's rotated over as well to get a better line of sight with the AWP, and it works out. So Gambit tie things up at 7 as we reach the final round of the half. This will determine who has the slight advantage, but it is Inferno, and I don't think any lead is safe ever, really.
That hit was always going to be a struggle. Hobbit playing so passive, same with Nathany, so they just had all their utility. If that was any kind of a set piece from K23, there would have been so many Molotovs in the choke point and nades, especially as Shiro rotates over. If not, they just get to chill and kind of wait. 2-man banana take. Shiro's behind them in support. This time Nathany again wants to push deep down. Deep smoke, deep Molotov, and deep nades are going to clear things out. That means K23 wants to see what they've got on the other side of the mid-smoke, and it's Inters. Adren gets put down, trying to make a cheeky play, and now a man advantage to Gambit. Add another one on top of it. Axal gives them an even bigger advantage in this final round of the first half.
Hobbit holding a cubby will try and make a play on this. There is no utility aside from a smoke, so he can be covered but can't be killed with things being thrown his direction, unless it's bullets, apparently, because Fame's got the headshot trading back the first kill that Hobbit did find, so still a 2-man advantage for Gambit with a minute to play. Axal still inside of the pit as well. They know that Inters has been on that box so often, but this time with his teammates still alive in pit, it's a good position to be, because it's an established crossfire that has been tried and tested over the years. I don't think he quite spotted the gun barrel of Fame walking out from the back of the hay bales, though. And that means they didn't even anticipate. He doesn't trade back, but now he knows gets inside of the broken wall, but doesn't elect to shoot, just tries to bait Mo into it, and Mo gets the better of the duel. Chris was actually watching the wrap from Library, but Nathany's been able to slip into position in the meantime, and a little bit late to save Inters, was in the corner, but wins the round for Gambit. They win the half just by 1.
Yeah, that's a really nice push down banana to the flank from Nathany. Never, ever expected. That's, I mean, all things considered, a good half from Gambit considering the way things started. Remember, that was 5-1 at one point in the favor of K23. Gambit ends things on a 7-2 run to bring it back and give themselves a lead going into the second half. So pissed around, see if they can win it and actually convert it. And we've got a terrorist timeout called, Matt.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is tech because it's tactical. Okay. Well,
It says tactical. Yeah.
It does on the graphic. Sometimes that goes up quickly just because that's the timeout setting that they have. In other words, it's all on a hotkey for the producers, but I don't see anything in chat to suggest otherwise. So yeah, this could be a tactical to discuss a pistol round. That's how important this seems to be to Gambit.
I'm wondering, oddly enough, if they're just so used to tournaments having a break at halftime. They were like expecting to have 3 minutes to have a quick chat. They're like, crap.
Okay, so, well, hang on. Yeah, no. So now K23 is also called pause on top of it. So I don't think this is entirely...
I think this one's tech. The first one was tactical.
All right, well, we'll go with it. We'll stick to that. Either way.
I'm just going to throw information out there before I get any confirmation.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, you had the prime leader and example of that in your country for the last 4 years, so.
Oh, dear.
I shouldn't bring in
Let's
politics.
not go that route.
That one was too easy.
That was low-hanging fruit.
Yes, it was.
All right. Unpause comes in. We are going to get the second half underway. 1 round lead for Gambit on this T-pistol. They're going to bring a smoke and a flashbang into it on Nathany. Glock armor all around it. And for K23, they're looking to brawl. 5 USP armor. No utility, no kits for the defensive side.
Nathany waiting from the underpass position. Does try and get a headshot toward Mo at the top of middle, but Adren is also there. And Mo might go one-on-one with his old teammate in the form of Hobbit, as he wants to work into the apartment position. And they've got a crossfire as well. Fame's back at the end of the halls. Adren's
yeah, but if they hard clear this, I don't think they can actually spot Mo if they hard clear it. Ooh, and he gets baited into a peek.
Oh, no. He thought he could be disciplined, and then he hesitated, and Hobbit get by. It was the second man up the stairs that killed him. Hobbit's got Fame. That crossfire completely falls apart. You're right. It was a hard clear, and Nathany's done just as well at Library as he reads Nealon and takes him down with the headshot. It's Norbert versus the world.
That's not what you want to see. Ooh, I wanted to see how that whole setup actually did, but he got a little bit greedy. He saw the opportunity and swung out just a little too wide, and that even made it harder for his teammate to help him. It made it easier for Gambit to just eliminate him from his position. Right here, that side step to the left. Exile was so ready. Yeah, he knew
Mo knows it. Oh, that sucks.
Is that a bowl of nuts in front of him that he's snacking on?
I didn't see it, but that'd be smart.
Some pistachios?
Yeah. The, healthy snack. Fill you up without bloating you too much. So Mo with the scout, trying to do what he can in middle. Reaction shot down toward Exile, but he manages to get by and no damage dealt. They know now there's definitely a scout in the hands of Mo as well, so they'll be prepared for that. 2-2 split with Bomb just kind of hanging out bottom end. Okay, it's going to go banana as well, but this is interestingly going to be a bit of a slower lurk play to try and get more information as to where the CTs are. Lots of utility already used on the B side of the map. 3 smokes still in play as well. You got Nealon, Norbert, and Adren that have those. And that's 2 of the 3, therefore, on the B side of the map. And that's such a good choke point to use them in, as we know. Exile flashed off. They're going to go back over toward A.
Yeah, the question becomes, where does Adren use his? I mean, with his position, you'd think it'd either be small pit right in front of him. And once he sees that smoke come in, actually puts it down there. Give the image as if there's going to be someone at Pope and readjust his spot. Got a teammate up on the balcony as well. Oh, and Gambit seems to be a little hesitant to come in. They know there's going to be some stiff resistance. Here's the peek from Fame. His deagle got him the second round in the first half, but Halls wasn't clear. Hobbit was ready and waiting the whole time, and now it gets tough. These deagles, though, still holding Gambit at bay.
Absolutely, they were. Good shooting gallery down to the quad. HP low for Mo, but not gone. Sits on 6. 3 for Nealon's enough for Exile to find the kill onto him very quickly. But Hobbit holds in pit, bomb to be planted, and Norbert's going to try and rotate around. It's planted safely inside of the site. So it's not like he had a chance to swing and kill. And the guns are picked up by Norbert, at least one AK to go along with Mo's scout. No damage done to either player, so Mo needs headshots, and he's going to get one in return instead from Hobbit. It's not going to win out the round enough, though I thought Norbert might have had the sidestep to beat Axile, who holds the round together. His third kill, and Gambit find round 10.
Ooh. Yeah, these second rounds, I mean, from both teams, or even just the low econ rounds, have been so dangerous. K23 got away with a few narrow victories in the first half as well. This is crazy. Long-ranged Eagles, close-ranged Eagles. Nealon hits a couple stunners there. 10-7. And K23 going to come right back into it with the full investment. They can taste the reset. They can taste economic control. Ooh, mid-push as well. Norbert, all those nades give away the game. They know what's coming. Good SMG. Good Deagle from Banana. And all of a sudden, Norbert's tearing him apart. 2 on 4.
Hell. Wow, I love the commitment. I love the nades. Even the deep smoke, Hobbit can't do anything. That's so sick. Gambit's got to just be sitting there like, really, guys? K23 come into play. I mean, this is 2 former teammates of Hobbit, 2 former Gambit members. Zach Stan obviously has a bit of a grudge match in this against Hobbit, so this is nice. This is pretty solid from them.
And to have that full third round investment after you fully invested in second round and lost it, I think that's probably what caught Gambit off the most. The deep nades completely caught someone from Gambit off guard. So did the pinch from middle and Banana. He didn't know which way to look. Head ringing. Shiro and Hobbit are completely split. Hobbit's going to try and pull defenders to the B bomb site. Doesn't have a lot of utility to do it. He's hoping for a kill, because they want Shiro with low HP to have a free avenue into the A bomb site, but that's such a tough ask out of Hobbit. 35 seconds, and we're kind of getting to that point where it's got to happen soon, and oh no, Matt, K23 is biting on this so hard. They bought completely.
Yeah, they have. It's still going to give them a chance to rotate back over, because they should be able to collect Hobbit's AK based on their position, based on the fact that they've got this. Hobbit's trying to run as well. Noise. He goes down, doesn't even get a kill, but Shiro's got to go. 14, needs the bomb plant, and he puts it in, but look who's close. Low of HP. MP9, easy kill, easy round from K23 in the end, but at least Gambit salvage out of this, Jason, you have to say.
Yeah, that's at least a nice little silver lining considering the way it began. And man, they had a real window of opportunity. That play could have been made way, way earlier, but obviously there's no way Gambit could have known that. K23 fully committed to the B bomb site, all 4 players. Nice turnaround from K23, 10-8, as they're within striking distance still, and this puts the money for Gambit in a weird place. Shiro enough for an AK and armor, everyone else sitting, right around 2,500 or less.
Well, that's a heck of a response. Got to give them full credit for it, because take economic control of this half and bring this back to 10-10 very quickly. Fame jumps across middle, spots one in alt mid as well, tries to throw a bounce nade to land that close. Still don't pay another damage onto Hobbit, you could say. He goes down to 84. But he's not done there, as he wants to get inside of the halls as well. Pressure, he'll back away. Nafany gone. Shiro's AK removed as well now as Fame gets that kill. So this should be pretty straightforward. We've got 2 left versus 5, and let's see, K23 have at least found their 9th round.
Yeah, and this might be a twofer. They might just find the equalizer. I don't think Gambit's going to be able to really buy a whole lot in the next round either. They're going to get 1,900, so yeah. Question is how much they'll want to invest. 2 on 5. Ooh, good kill from Exile. They could open this up. It's all down to this Hobbit engagement on the rap side. And they're trying to juggle the aggression. Trying to make sure that K23 can't get 2 players together. Another kill from Exile. Hobbit gave him the information, and now they need to just take care of Adred. There's the smokes down. Hobbit picked off from the side. Adred is playing this so well. All that experience. It's so smart. And Exile now trapped in the site. He needs a kill from one of these sides, or to at least get this bomb plant. And there it is. He's got another, but down to 2 HP.
Oh, good read, though. Knows he can't plant because he hasn't cleared quad. Now, the problem is he has looked, but didn't spot. And they won't pounce on the opportunity to get him while he's planting on 2 HP, but he wants an ace to win this out. And he's going to hold for Library. Little does he know they've gone high above inside of the apartments, and Mo's looking for the elevated kill on the Deagle. As soon as he stands up, 2 to shoot from the same angle, and they'll clear it together. He can't find the taps, goes to the Tech9, knows he's low, but Mo with the AWP will find the kill instead. You got to give the guy credit for trying.
Yeah, that would have been really cool if he was able to hit that AK headshot on the Mo. Tech9 for Norbert at the headshot box. That could have gotten real weird. That could have been miraculous. Either way, good damage to the economy by Exile. He found the silver lining. The extra $800 is going to help out. That'll help them, just buy Deagles to keep the money for the CT side loaded so they can fight back and actually try and take some weapons away. Tech9s, P250s coming out for Gambit. And K23 looking to tie things up right here.
Three bullets as well in that AK, but after putting the bomb down away, Nealon takes down the almost hero last round. The attack style is found immediately by him. Good nade as well by Nealon. Man, this guy's continuing to look so impressive today. He's jumping off the page, and he's jumping off the scoreboard as well. 1 kills for him. Fame still sits second right now for K23 with 12. Interestingly enough, it's Mo and Adren, the 2 former Gambit players that are at the low side of that scoreboard for their team. But yeah, this is Nealon really taking this game by the reins.
I think this is the first time we've had a chance to cast K23 at this in this event so far. So really cool to see Nealon delivering like this.
Got the boost as well towards CT, and it is the man we just mentioned that's up there as Norbert tries to bait them in. Norbert's lineup to take down Shiro from the fountain headshot position. Follow it up with those inters. 10-10. There's that double you talked about, Jason.
These teams haven't even played this year, Matt. They haven't played since 2020. Gambit won all those series, every single one. Going back to when K23 was actually Simon Gaming. I think the only map they lost was Mirage 16-14 at a qualifier for IEM Beijing.
Ages ago now.
Yeah. All right. Passive opening from Gambit at Banana. Exile throwing out a Molotov to keep them as far back as possible. Hobbit is burning alive. He got caught, and Adren gets a freebie. That's Adren's 7th kill on the day.
Nade lands at Nealon's feet. Puts him down to 48. Nafi, meanwhile, will wait it out inside of the apartments. Bomb's going to head over that direction as well. Now that they've lost 1 man, they'll try and group up and take a collective lead. This is a good crossfire. Fame can step out. Nafi might get 1 okay. He's not so confident now because that was such a clean kill onto Adren. Mo still holding with an AWP as well.
I don't think the idea for Gambit has changed a whole lot when they back away from halls, but they certainly just kind of fall away, and Inter's eyes immediately went to the flank, went to the base of Banana. So they're just checking and making sure nothing crazy is happening, and they're going to come right back into this. Nafi and Exile meeting up a Shiro in the halls. Bomb is going to go 3rd with the op to cover.
Checks. Exile tries to jump by. Nafi can jump down and catch out Mo, though, but phenomenal work, you have to say. Good no-scope from Shiro to at least get that kill back, because now it sits at 2-on-2. And Shiro low as well. 9 will go for the bomb plant. Smoke down. Inters gets nothing. No read toward Library at all. And Norbert's going to go the long way around as a result of that. And Inters will hold in the pit. Good find. Takes down Norbert immediately. Now they've got a real chance at this, but who's up against them other than Nealon, who's been so impressive, and he's going to need 2 great kills here to take the lead for K23. Knows there's 1 inside of the pit based on the last kill coming in. Move him out, and that gets Hero as he baits the first shot, sees the head, but can't land it with the M4. Tap and hold? No, he's just going to tap it and make sure that he gets the peek back out, and Inters just barely holds his nerve. 15 HP, and there would have been time on that defuse as well.
Nealon almost had something spectacular. That flashbang completely wrecked Inters. He even realized he was that exposed. He got away with one there. Takes a dink, I think, to the corner of the wall. Almost a brilliant 1 versus 2. 11-10. In the favor of Gambit. Mo's got the AWP out on the board. I mean, you want to keep track. We talked about kind of the old teammates of the major winning teams going head-to-head with Hobbit. None of the major winners on the K23 side are having that great of a game. Madrid at 7 kills, Mo at 8, so they've been quiet.
Well, Hobbit's on the bottom of the other side, too.
Yeah.
Nade goes past Exile, still hits him and tags him up for 22 HP. Mo with the boost on half wall's already looking deep toward the stairs as well, but he's a little bit concerned someone may have actually snuck in and gotten to his left. That's what Axile's going to do right now. So X-ray off. Oh yeah, we see it. Easy spot. The second one jumps as well. Tries to hit the third one, and that actually gives his position up because he potentially thought he was spotted in doing so, but it's going to be Gambit that get the better of the exchange. Mo's down. Fame as well. Shiro's found a Dread. Nealon back in library is taken out by Navi, and this round should be gone. Gambit should get number 12, and Exile makes damn sure of it. On a second op picked up, does he switch it out? I think he did, just in time for the M4, interestingly enough, on this T side.
Nafi just did some filthy things on Rap side. He did some real nasty things to K23 in that press up the Rap. That's good stuff. And that round was so clean from Gambit, and it felt so clinical and surgical and so well timed. I don't know. That's one of those hits that makes you feel real bad for K23 moving forward in the later stages of this map. It almost feels like Gambit was just like, all right, we're here. We're warmed up. Now we're all feeling like we're clicking together. They're going to get an easier round with K23 all on USPs. But that one makes me wonder if Gambit have just kind of hit a level that's going to allow them to finish off this map.
Exile will work in slowly with the AWP to peer over his shoulder. Shiro looking for an angle, but no one there. They're going to figure this out. So they commit to B, but it works out for them. They'll even start to clear it now with utility, just to be absolutely sure of it. Exile likely will rotate all the way through Chapel, just to make absolutely sure of it. And Bomb will go down. This round should be done. It'll be 13 now for Gambit.
$13 now for Gambit and 3 in a row. Been a pretty tough opening map for them. Starting to come back into it. Well, I'm trying to think of what I'd like to see out of K23 to see if they can get back into it. Obviously, I think the number one thing that could help them out massively is especially if Mo can start picking things up with an AWP. If you can get that in his hands, and he can find you a couple early kills, maybe down Banana. Oh, that's tough with all the utility these days. Maybe an off angle in middle somewhere to catch somebody sleeping. But finding a 5-on-4 could go a long way. And Mo is going to have that AWP. It's dropped over by Fame.
Highest utility damage in this server right now. That's 237, 214 for Norbert's the second. That's a top and HE's thoughtful stat. There we go. There's Exile again on Neal, and Hobbit's going to act it off because he's got Fame. That makes it now a 2-man advantage, but that's cut in half immediately as there's 1 kill back by Norbert. I saw an interesting graph, I think it was a couple days ago on Reddit, showing the utility usage on each respective map, and HE is the lowest on all of them. Obviously, Decoy wasn't tracked because it's overpowered.
Because it's a decoy, yeah.
It's super powerful. But yeah, no, HE's obviously the lowest, and that makes perfect sense, right? Defensive utilities, flashes on takes, smokes were the highest. But Inferno had quite a bit of incendiary / Molotov usage.
Yeah, it's
likely as Banana.
Yeah, it's pretty critical. And I mean, the whole Banana Banana takes on both sides, both as T and as CT is just like it's like a weird little chess game that all the Banana players have to play. Navi going to throw a little bit of utility towards B, going to keep Norbert here. See if he can find anything. The rest of his teammates are ready to just pop out halls at any moment. Although Nafi's going to keep walking. I don't think there's really time for them to come back. They started to when he didn't see anything. Also smoked off in halls. K23 seemed to have a good read. Mo's in trouble. Back behind the corner for the repeat. He finds one. That's the bomb on the deck. 15 seconds. Hobbit and Shiro need to make something happen right now. I don't know if they can. There goes Adren. One more frag for him, and Mo gets the upshot.
Sick job by Mo to get out of trouble and then turn around and catch them off. Very good read, as you say, by K23. They were absolutely ready for that. And you mentioned Mo needing to be the one to step up in the AWP. Well, that certainly helps. Gets himself into double digits finally with 10 kills. And interestingly enough, I know the MVP stats are the ones that we don't really care about a competitive as much, but it does indicate on round wins who has the biggest contribution. And Mo has a high impact in the rounds that they're actually winning, so it does provide some context in this regard in terms of backing up what you're saying about his offense being solid.
Well, yeah, no one cares about those MVPs.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to give some context to say, as you say, like that AWP has to have more impact, and it has on the rounds that they've been winning. So that speaks to it.
It'd just be nice if he could find some opening kills for him. Although it's not something you could just go say, yeah, I'm gonna go get an opening kill this round. They did try and get aggressive in the previous round and ended up kind of losing out on their aggressive plays. That's a big time flank down Banana real early on from Neelan. Adren and Mo have doubled up on this rap side, and Mo's bored. He wants to go find something out. He's got to be careful, though. He's going to walk right into the crosshair. Shiro's holding this peak. If he goes too deep, Mo is going to get picked off. Now it's Adren's turn. Nafi not ready for that. Good trade.
Not at all. Good trade. I mean, why would you expect there to be an AK after an AWP is trying to peek that, right? So it catches them off entirely by design or otherwise. Norbert, by the way, alone at B is pushed out towards Sandbags. So this could be a interesting off angle. Interesting off angle that's going to yield one kill and no response on A. And Shiro does get the AWP in position, and all of Gambit rotate over toward Banana, and now it is a 3-on-2 and a late rotation coming out from the B side of the map by Fame. Still not even sure that mid's wide open. It's a Dren that pretty much has to hold this on his own. Is he just going to walk through? Double smoke down, back turned. Oh my goodness, man. No. He got so lucky not to be spotted, but nearly took 2 down. That was a massive opportunity. He's done a huge amount of damage, which could still come into play as Hobbit backs off and holds in front of the emo position, swings out. Adren takes him down, but the information that he's rotated to the coffin side is now apparent, and the smokes have dissipated towards CT. He'll have some access, some point of entry. Adren's going to do it all himself. Good flash from his teammate to get him defenseless to his angels, and Shiro smoke. They might have just pulled this one take off unless he can find the lineup on top of the coffin. He's just out of reach. He's just outside of where he normally would defuse from, and it's going to be the round to K23.
That's a retake and a half, but I can't believe Adren didn't just continue that fight and get a double kill on the plant. Hobbit, they hadn't cleared the bomb site itself, so he was looking the other direction. That very easily could have been a win by time. Regardless, good job coming around, and some late utility from Faye makes it easy. 1 round away is K23. 2 in a row now for them, and another bye for Gambit with that plant. Mo, he's going to peek down mid. Just toss the nade real quick.
Axel realizes the flames won't reach his feet, so he's not going to give his position away with the use of the smoke. That might be beneficial. As he walks out and he gets the lineup, they both come into it. And perfectly again, Axel knows he now can rush toward B, and that's exactly where the bomb is going to go. If he had thrown that smoke to extinguish the flames, that whole play doesn't happen. A bit of patience pays off. And now Mo does at least hit the leg shot onto Nafi as he fires blindly inside of the site. He's even watching for a counter boost at Nubox to see if they'll rotate around. But what a response from Gambit. A little bit of luck, but also some wit from Axel to make that play happen.
Yeah, well, Mr. Multi-Kill over here just delivering still. And, I mean, that's a win right out of the gates. K23, they'd be absolutely insane to go for this. It's time to back away. You have no money built up behind this round. If you lose these weapons, Gambit's going to start having the red carpet laid out. So Fame backs away. Mo just grabs an angle to prevent anyone from chasing, and Adren's already been holding the flank on the other side of the map, so we're all good. 14 to 12 in the favor of Gambit.
Adren spots the gun barrel, fires very, very early at Shiro, knowing that after he checked on the left, he'd likely swing wide right, so didn't want to waste time on it. At least gets it down to a 3-on-3 at the end of it, meaning the guns are not only saved, but one more is lost on Gambit's side, but another round one puts them 2 away from the finish. And we've got quite a finish, I think, in store for us on this first map. Remember, that's Mirage comes up as map number 2, and then Dust 2 if needed. And at this rate, I honestly think it could be.
Yeah, very possible. We're not going to count it out. I'm pleasant. I'm very happy with what kind of competition we're getting out of K23 right here against Gambit. Round 27. Shiro aggressive with the op. Oh, almost flicks over. Gets damage through the board. Exile completes the kill. Although Fame finds an equalizer again. Hobbit trying to pounce pretty quickly and hauls off a kill on the other side of the map. And again, he's stopped.
Bounce nade to the sandbags with no receiving end of it. Very passive stance this time. That early kill from Gambit has forced the defense quite thin. Inferno is one of those maps that it really makes things difficult for the CTs because you've got it's a hard job at A to leave 2 people to it. One buried at B is a problem as well. Norbert at least gets Navi down with a good trade. Norbert, WP. Blindly trying to hit inside of the site. Exile, that is a ballsy play because he landed on the bullet that was intended for the planter. But he'll find the kill instead as Fame and Adren will try and rotate back in. Slowly but surely, they'll walk to their deaths as both go down in simultaneous fashion, and it's map point for Gambit.
What a disgusting round again from Exile. Just down the stretch. Remember, first the 2 entries in Banana the previous round. Now he gets a triple kill in this round, and he's looking to close this map. 3 chances for Gambit to get to 16, and K23 is going to be fighting with mostly scraps. Just really good stuff from Exile. You're right, that is a bold play, but I like it. I admire the jump. 1 M4 on the defense. And that's it. That's all they have to play with, surrounded by Deagles and a CZ.
Shiro, nade out with Mo, boosted bottom stairs for the headshot angle. It's slightly smaller target to fire back at, and also lets them rotate 2 back out toward middle, but this is the only gun. That's why they're trying to find something clever and cheeky for it. Hobbit's going to be actually upside in Boiler already, and look at Adren as well. Hobbit's not going to have this easily done. Oh, wow, they've read this. That's a good read. Man, oh man, look at the damage done, and Hobbit will collect as Mo runs away. There was a headshot in the meantime onto Norbert that came out from the gun of Exile yet again, and Adren's going to try and do something with this Deagle, try and put a 3rd person in the same position. It also means he picks up the M4, and that is enough to get Inters down, and the bomb, and catch off Hobbit. They're not ready for the double rotation as he swings both directions. Good read. Brings Nealon back into the picture. Adren finds a 3rd, but that's all he'll get in the round. And it's going to be Gambit taking map 1 in a close 16-12. And I say close despite that is a 4-round gap. That could have gone either way at some points with the economy in the second half, Jason.
Yeah, it really could have. And that's a cool showing out of K23. Very competitive with the best team in the world, but Gambit down the stretch. Obviously, Exile just picking up the pace at the end, making sure they closed it out. And that T-side from Gambit, so good at trading. And when they needed it most, they came alive. That's awesome from Gambit. Either way, that's just the first map.
Yeah, absolutely. Mirage coming up next. Hobbit certainly not present. Exile came alive late this time. We saw him have huge starts early yesterday, and what a time to do it. That was absolutely perfect. With that said, Jason, we don't have to talk about the game today, or at least pretend like we know what we're talking about. I mean, you probably do. I don't. So let's send it to people who do. We've got a desk, and it's James Beggs that will lead them through it.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, after game 1, it was, I guess, a turbulent start, I would say, for Gambit, Duncan. It wasn't the greatest beginning, but then they warmed up into it.
Yes, I mean, listen, this is far and away the best map for K23. So the fact that this is available in the pool is like a map. It gives them a chance at least. And you saw why there. Like, when they were able to hit their shots entering on T-side, they were dynamite. They were doing a really good job. The problem for me is I I'd feel as though the Gambit guys were just a bit slow, like individually, to get going in this game. As Jason said, like by the end, Axel was just rolling completely. You saw like the difference once Shiro could get set up in AWPers. I thought the AWP gap was pretty huge on this particular map, but great performance by K23 all the same. Just shows that Gambit win no matter what.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? And when we're looking at this, Ben, you got to say, like, for K23, they can go into this confident, but you're still going up against a team who makes very little mistakes, and even when they're behind, Gambit will always find a way back in.
Yeah, no, they're just like, you're never gonna have an easy round versus a team like Gambit. You also see that they do, like, they make a point out of saving it all here and there, etc. Just being able to have something to go into pretty much each and every round that's gonna make the opponent feel pressured, and you know, mistakes will happen off of that very often. And Gambit are the team to probably make the most out of those kind of scenarios. I think K23 did an admirable job really to start us off, but I think once we got further into both halves, you kind of see that Gambit were better at adjusting. So K23 finding a lot of success by doing contact plays and so on to start up their T sides. Obviously, breaking the economy of the CTs is excellent, but once you get to a certain point, Gambit actually start sending Shiro out, you know, for not necessarily, you know, completely dry peaks, but having him actually take charge, which picks off a lot of K23 members and breaks the entire momentum of K23's T side.
Massively, and even rounds like we saw from K23 where they get super aggressive down mid that time, they pushed onto the Gambit players. Okay, they picked up the round, but Gambit still find a way to split what it was Hobbit and Inters. One was going A, one was going B. They still get the plant down. Like, it must be so confusing to try and play against.
It's a nightmare. In Big Deathers, we've literally just adopted a term that's called Gambit, and that's when you have, like, in a basically, like, when you're down in numbers, you split up and go from that, basically just keeping your opponents in the dark. And that's what we've talked a little bit about in the pre-show, and that's what we're seeing from Gambit as well, where you just have two players playing by themselves, and it just makes you play passive as a CT. We also see it in the round, the 2v3, that K23 actually wins, where Adren picks up two players. Fame has yet to rotate at the point where Gambit are three people inside of the B-bomb side, because they know that this is something Gambit does. Normally you'd find one Gambit player at least, you know, in Boiler or coming out of Apps or something like that, and if you don't account for it, then you get punished. So it definitely toys with your opponent's side the way Gambit plays.
Now, Duncan, when it comes to Gambit, right, I want to talk a little bit like what we were talking about in the green room when it comes to Inters, because a player that maybe not fragging out all the time like crazy, but such a vital player towards the system with what Gambit try and achieve here.
Yeah, well, listen, part of the problem is every single top team always tries to, like, run defense for fans with their worst player and be like, no, he's just as good as all the rest of us. Right? The way that it's weird with Inters is, I know why the casuals don't think he's good, because if you just watch with the eye test, he doesn't get very many kills. He's not a super skilled player. But what you need to look at is this. Look how rarely he ever loses them the round or makes a massive front run or, like, positioning mistake. The guy basically just stays alive all the time he needs to, has very low amount of deaths, and he just does what is necessary within the team. So to me, he's an example that they are almost at this point in time in the online era, like, feel like a perfect team. He complements that. Like, I wouldn't put, like, some great fragger in that role and potentially mess it all up. Believe it or not, just not dying in certain positions can be massively valuable to a team where, think about what Vendetta was just talking about, how smart they are with, like, the sort of punish game they have, slow rotations, never letting you know where they are. So if you have players who don't make mistakes, every Navi fan should know this. That can win you the game.
Yes, it really can. Now, when it came to the AWP battle, right, it was very one-sided. Now, obviously, we know what Shiro can do, and an absolute beast with this. But, like, for such an AWP-centric meta that we're in right now, Mo just wasn't there, right? He wasn't able to get too much done using the most expensive gun in the game and kind of falling apart here then. Yeah,
and it actually ended up, you know, costing K23 a fair bit. One of the, I think it was around 10 to 11, where you have K23 at a position to potentially not reset Gambit fully, but obviously, like, put them onto pistols and actually be able to build some momentum, actually stabilize your own economy. He spots out the guy creeping up Banana, then sees two people crossing by. So he has, like, all the necessary information in terms of actually being able to take a duel, but just straight up loses out the duel to Axel with a UMP. And that kind of just snowballs everything out of control because he goes down. That forces a rotation. One of their players loses out the duel to Nafani in Archway. And all of a sudden, Gambit get away with a near flawless round in a scenario where if Mo is on form, he probably gets that first pick, and all of a sudden Gambit doesn't have the momentum to kind of just go flying everywhere and yeah, basically put K23 on their back foot.
Now, I do want to touch on Nilan here because this guy has been, I guess, a pleasant surprise on this K23 lineup. Not maybe the most experienced player in there, but fundamentally and individually, he seems sound, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the bad part about K23 not getting the win was, like, obviously this was a map that, like, they were hoping would be a big chance for them. And more importantly, I even thought they had almost a perfect kill distribution. Like, it was the players that are less well-known, Nilan, Fame, Norbert, who actually seemed like the fraggers in the team. That was all working out. Even Adren was obviously contributing with that ridiculous late-game round scenario. He pretty much won for them. Basically, it was only more not open that kind of, I think, cost them in the end. So if they can have anything like this on the next map, maybe 2 maps if we get them, the next maps are fragging maps. So if people like Nilan can come alive again, there's at least a chance.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Going on to Mirage, I would say when it comes up against, I don't know, 7 out of 8 teams, you know, I'd look at it and go, okay, Mirage can lend to a team getting very well forward on being skilled and letting the individuals shine. But like when you play Gambit on Mirage, they have a very different approach. Like they are unique in every single way here, then.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. And one of the things that kind of allows them to play in that fashion is what Duncan mentioned before the game started, the fact that they have, you know, 3 players playing at a world-class level. And that doesn't mean, you know, that's not to say that Inters and Nafani are necessarily lagging that far behind either. So they're allowed to take a lot more freedom than what most teams would do in terms of how they actually approach in getting map control and how they just play out general rounds. And that's obviously going to be to their benefit. So it's going to be a really tough task for K23, but at least they're not going into the map, you know, with no experience or no idea as to what Gambit likes to do and how they actually play. But a lot of it is going to come down to actually having your individuals being able to stop them in their tracks as they're gradually getting map control.
And what do we think this is going to come down to, Duncan, when we're looking at Mirage? Do you think there is any slight chance, or do we think, because like, I look at this and I think it's going to be hella one-sided. Like Inferno was close, but I feel like Mirage is going to be like just absolute dominance from the Gambit guys.
Yeah, the tough part here is this isn't a great map for the guys from K23, so it's not one that I feel like the confidence going to be there. And then what Vendetta just said about the fragging, like it's already bad enough that they basically in Gambit have 3 players competing with each other for who's going to win the MVP of the tournament. But if that, you can also easily forget that like Nafani is one of the better fragging IGLs in this game, and on a map like Mirage, if you can frag as an IGL, the map's just yours. On T-side, you can do whatever you want. You basically read the game, make all the calls you want on the fly. So Gambit is, if anything, Mirage shows what an alien team they are, because put it this way, their stats in the last 3 months is they've won 13 out of 17 games on Mirage. Like, that's not even like it's a fragging map numbers. Like that's like Dust 2. Yeah, they have like, you know, like a 66% win rate. That made sense. The idea you can almost never lose on Mirage as a super tactical team, it just shows that actually, like we've been saying, forget the tactics, just the skills, the chops that these guys have individually cannot be overestimated.
And I think what's crazy, right, when we're looking at this and it comes to Gambit and just what they're able to do across multiple maps is that we see not just the individuals shine, but also I would say the brain shine. Because when it comes to Mirage, like you guys were mentioning there, I would just say, okay, you can get a bit more FPL style. Like, you look at a team like Complexity, right? It was their main pick. It's their map pick going into vetoes all the time. Yet they drop games to teams you'd never they would drop against, and they struggle up against other teams. But with Gambit, they have this uncanny ability to be able to just keep things going no matter what happens here then.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. And I think this is one of the maps that actually lends itself really well to pulling Gambits, basically spreading yourself out in, let's say, a 3v3 or a 4v4 and just having players roam around freely. Like Vertigo is another map where Gambit are excellent at doing it in. So it just putting your opponents, the CT side, in that scenario where they feel like they have to chance towards one site because they're not going to have solid information without putting themselves at too big of a risk. Because you can't go wandering, you know, too often aggressively into mid or aggro into AFs and things like that without getting punished, you know, on an average round. So kind of figuring out what's going on, where the Gambit players actually are at any given time feels like a bit of a Mission Impossible thing.
And another thing, when you're looking at just the amount of games that we see Gambit play, right? Not only they're in the big tournaments as well, but they're coming through this at the same time. I would say one thing that you maybe start to worry about and look at is that they're playing almost too much, right? Because they're always in boot camp as well, Duncan. It's non-stop for these guys. And yeah, okay, some of them are young, obviously, with the exception of Hobbit, but it is a real grind they're going through.
Oh, for sure. But the problem is at the moment, like, remember, like, you just see the prize money they've won. It's ridiculous. They're already over $1 million in a year. So, like, I can get it. They're in their prime right now. You make hay while the sun's out, right?
Yeah, definitely. You got to take full advantage of it. So overall, it seems like K23, right, are going to be on a bit of a struggle with this. Ben, is there something you expect them to see change up or make a different approach in how they try and handle this? Like, is there a way they can catch Gambit off guard?
I don't think they can afford to necessarily go into this game thinking that an anti-strat Gambit. Like, their playstyle isn't necessarily that conducive to actually allowing that to happen. So for K23, again, they need to get Mo active. He needs to actually deliver to a level where, yeah, you saw 4 years back, and have one of those games. I think also we could expect to, or we should expect more out of a player like Norbert for them to have much of a chance here. But the big player for me is going to be Mo. He's going to be controlling that middle area as a CT, and if he continuously loses out that duel versus Shiro without getting anything for it, then yeah, Gambit are just going to have a field day.
Where you can have massive AWP gap like that. You can hide the AWP to some degree on Inferno. So what's this guy think? He's just some washed former major winner who used to be good with the AWP, now can't even play Mirage. Who's he think he is? Smiths. Old school reference for everyone there.
Yeah, it is tough, right? When we're looking at it in this day and age of playing Counter-Strike to be able to have an AWP that doesn't deliver. But we know games can change around for guys and they can obviously motivate themselves and find their form once again with it. When I look though and see Gambit as a whole, I just look at this team as like, okay, when we get them to LAN, I don't know, do you guys think they're going to change that much? Do you think they're going to struggle, Duncan? I know you've got some pretty tough opinions on this one.
Here's the thing, I wouldn't say like struggle in the sense that like they're so good tactically, and I think at least like listen, the three big names, if two of them haven't yet adapted on LAN, it will happen eventually. The question is how long. I don't know if all three can hit the ground running, be amazing, and crucially for me, because the tactical system's so good, that'll give them a basis. But I need to know like what the divisional labor is with the coaching staff, because everyone is bigging up the coaching staff. Doing, how much the analysts done, how much, talking they can do online. We get to LAN, you're not going to be talking like that. And suddenly Navi, who does a great job as a fragging IGL, he has to be the pure IGL then. So I think, personally, I don't think they will be number one. I know it's pretty bold statement, but I think they'll probably be like a top 5 team. And I'm just excited to see how long it will take them to adapt to being very good on LAN, because they have the pieces, clearly.
Yeah, they certainly do have the pieces. Ven, any additional thoughts on that?
No, again, I think one benefit that Gambit are going to have to use to their advantage is the fact that we're not going straight back into stadium events, because I think that could be a more daunting task to tackle as a pretty inexperienced team. So the fact that you're going back into studio environment, it feels a little bit more like home. Obviously, there is a more of a nerve in the games that you play, more or less face to face with your opponent. But I still think that's going to be beneficial for them in terms of adapting to the big stage in that way. And I think I tend to agree with Duncan here. Really, the fact that I really see them as a set, world number one. Once we get back into the groove of things at LAN, but I don't think we're going to see Gambit disappear either. I think they definitely have the quality to remain a top 5 team and potentially get better from there as well. But I think there's going to be an adjustment period that's going to take a lot of casual viewers by surprise in terms of form dips and so on.
Well, just looking at these map stats, Duncan, it goes into what you were saying about it all, right? That this right now is Gambit. They may lose to Navi at one point, they'll win again the rest of it. Like, they are so damn consistent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, remember, these are teams, by the way, who a lot of the time are probably picking this map into them, and they are just blowing them away. And even when they lose to Navi on one map there, well, Simple is playing like probably the best Counter-Strike any human being has ever played in history. So if you only occasionally lose to the guy who's doing that, you're probably pretty unbeatable as a team. I mean, remember, this is a map where, like I'd stressed before, when Dust 2 wasn't in the map pool competitively, that's why every single person who plays like Face It now loves Mirage. reason why some of the other teams ask for it to be removed is they think it's played out tactically. I'll tell you what, when Gambit played, it just looks like it's a totally consistent map. You'd think this was train or something.
We can also see on the K23 side, Ben, you and the boys are in there as well. Sadly, with a loss for you guys, a win for K23. Just
yeah.
bring that up.
Mirage debut and an official games, playing it for the first time in I think a year and a half or something like that. Didn't quite go well. Team. Yeah, but yeah, we kind of got to feel the wrath of a team that understands how to deal with mid pressure and so on the CT side to a decent amount. But there's no real doubt that Gambit are a much better team than what we are on Mirage and in general right now. So I think it's going to be a much tougher ask for K23 to get similar results versus these guys.
Now, Ben, I got to pick your brain on this as well, right? Because obviously you being in that coach slot and starting to see some of these teams and how they play it out. Like, how do you compare your Navis and the rest of the CIS teams to what Gambit are now in terms of like playing style?
It's like two different universes, really.
Yeah.
With Navi, you have a pretty consistent idea of what you can expect out of. Navi are a more dangerous team when they're down in 3v4s or 2v4s, as long as Simple or Electronic are alive, because their base and their fundamental setup on how they play their T sites, for instance, doesn't really feel that strong at all. But with Gambit, again, then you constantly have the question mark going around in your head as to what are they actually doing and where are they actually going to put the pressure on, and whether they're actually committing to something or faking. So Gambit just feels a lot more, I guess you could say, standardized European in their play style, but they still have that CIS flair that just makes it all the more difficult to play against.
Here's the analogy for you, James, right?
Yep.
Basically, Gambit is like a top professional driver, like, Formula One level. He's driving like a new S-Class Mercedes around the track. And basically, Navi and Boomich, they're like the little kid on the like toy steering wheel, like, beep, 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 beep. And then, they're trying to do all the same stuff, but not quite the same execution, is it? So
Definitely not the same execution. Do we think, though, like, other... Is it just so unique to Gambit in their system? Is it needing these younger players that you can mold in a certain way?
I think there's opportunity to obviously do it, but I think it's going to be tougher for an already established team to approach an entirely new way of thinking about the game and playing. So it might be easier with newer players, but obviously then you're going to have a severe skill gap that you need to make up for as well, which is going to definitely give you a couple of losses on your way, towards the top and so on. But I think it would be very hard to use Gambit as a bit of a blueprint on how you're meant to play, because they've kind of found something that fits their 5 players. And that goes to what Duncan was saying as well about Inters, for instance. Again, through the eye test, he's not necessarily a world beater. He's not someone who's going to blow you away, but he suits the needs that Gambit has as a team perfectly. And that's why you're seeing them thrive.
And that's one thing that I find is the most interesting, right, Duncan, is that when we look at academy teams and youth teams coming up, this is the first one that's actually... And we see the change up in that sense, but that was just one player. When we looked at it before, you see some academy players rise to main teams, but we've never seen a full squad be able to do this, let alone achieve the #1 status in the world.
I do think as well the two are connected, because it reminds me, funnily enough, even though it wasn't as meteoric, of the rise of the Vanguard players that became Virtus Pro and were supposed to be here, because they also basically lived together for all those years and built the team up. So yeah, I think it's quite a cool blueprint. I just want to see if other teams can follow it.
Yeah, let's see if they can, coming later on throughout the scene. It's time for us to move into Mirage. It's time to see if K23 can fight back on Gambit's map pick, and we'll get back with Sadicus and Moses to take us through all the action.
Yes, thank you, James. This was the map that Gambit lost to Navi yesterday, so they are not invincible on this map by any means. And that is important. I kind of agree with what Duncan said, that this has become the pug map. It's become a standard map in the pool, and a lot of times teams think that it's kind of done to death, but Gambit's been pretty consistent. This time, however, it's Hobbit again that's going to go down early, and it's a...
Yeah, I feel like Gambit style plays really well on this map, though. I think that's part of the reason why they're having so much success on it. 2 early kills for K23, Adrena and Norbert to get those. And finally, a response. A rebuttal and a second one. Oh, they get caught. Jungle is now exposed. Connector is now exposed, and Mo's got to back away. Norbert's inside of the site, blinded. Gushed as well, although not too much damage taken. That's a good spin around. And finally, These trades actually aren't even giving anyone an advantage. Exile's going to get another one. Nathany now spots out Mo, and it's a 1 versus 2, but the bomb is going to the other side of the map.
Yeah, and Mo's going to try and chase. No, he's not. I thought he was just going to try to hunt Nathany down. I think he's all too aware that if he goes around the corner and too much noise is made, he'll just turn and get the angle on him. Instead, though, he could still cut him off from catwalk, and he's just going to bypass that, maybe beat him to the site. This is a tough call. This is a tough ask for him, and good read by Gambit to rotate back over toward B. Mo's going to have no information as to where the planter has gone. Jumps up. Won't. Oh, I love that. And they're both going to peek from the same angle as he jumps up. And Exile's being so disciplined in this. Mo must now. Okay, that's actually pretty sick that he actually does anticipate that there's 2 in the position because. God, Exile, he's already cleared everywhere else, and if he was at Checkers, there wasn't a chance to see him in that position anyway, so he did what he could, Mo, but good play overall from Gambit to take the first round of the map. Now, they did this on Inferno as well, Jason, and we saw what happened afterwards, so we need to convert these pistol rounds.
Well, this is a fantastic turnaround from a 3-on-5 to essentially a pistol round win, a 2-on-1. That's craziness. What a good round from Exile to help these trades all the way through, finding some kills. At the end, that's a situation where it's like he can take his hands off the mouse and keyboard and still win that round. That's how well they had played it. 1-0. And you're right, they did drop the second round after winning the pistol on Inferno. Going to try and prevent that from happening here. Mid-control provided by Nathany and his Mac-10, who's moved up very quick. And Norbert tries to beat the smoke, but it's Nathany who comes out on top.
Yeah, Nathany's got the first shot with the Mac-10 through, as you say, the smoke. Fame, though, has the smoke angle entirely. Keelan as well is already inside of the apartments. We might have another situation. Down a man, but an AK picked up. Thankfully, Shiro, Hobbit, and Inters keep themselves composed. Then it's a Dren, although he's in the B side, he's in the right spot. It just has the Deagle, and I say just has the Deagle. In this position, he could easily surprise someone. I was going to say Hobbit should be just to the left of our screen about now, but he does see the angle, spots him out, and Gambit maybe managed to survive an early scare in the round.
Yeah, so patient and so aware of what has and has not been cleared. Good job from Hobbit. That could have been tricky. Shiro was all the way in middle, so if Adren had gotten a lucky Deagle shot, he might have had a chance to bring it into a 1-on-1. 2-0 and just a singular P250 picked up by Norbert.
That range. Exile as well gets one more on the board. And with 7 HPs, just trying to drag this out for all of our viewing pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna get hunted. He's already back through CT. Enters getting the kill, and now we'll get into the gun round. He didn't have anything invested at all. Did. Lovely little Fame. So we'll call this one pretty simple and straightforward, and now we'll see what the result and the response will be. Norbert again is going to be going on to that AUG, so we're still seeing the AUG come out quite, well, I shouldn't say quite a bit, not obviously like it was, during that time. Put us aside and out of our minds, Jason, but
yeah,
it's definitely still around a bit.
During that period, the AUG and Creep meta, I miss it.
I do and I don't. It was interesting. It changed things up a little bit.
Oh, it definitely did. It also, it changed a lot of the way the game was played as well, especially the AUG on the CT side. Regardless, a lot of utility used by K23 real early on. They've got a smoke and 2 flashes left for the rest of the round. It's a mid-centric setup. Adrenaline connector, Fame in the window, now blocked out by smoke, and Mo with that AWP. Ooh, and he's going to get an easy one. Nathany crouch slides right into it.
Trying to use the bullet to get Dren, gets Inters just barely. In fact, the bullet comes door frame. Finally take him down, and he doubles up and takes down Hobbit before Shiro's able to get an angle jumping across the blocks. Finding Fame is going to level the situation, level the round, but it's gone again as Mo's taking out Shiro, and it's all on Exile to try and find 4 kills total to win this, but 3 players left alive, and he can't even find the first. Mo with the AWP. KS23, excuse me, having nightmares. is going to take the first gun round.
It felt like a pretty busted round. The bomb was left in T-spot that whole time. I mean, Gambit trying to find the reaction up a ramp to get the equalizing kill to bring it back into a 4-on-4, but losing even more players as that went on. But also, even if they had success, they would have had to spend a lot of time going back to get the bomb. K23 switches into a double op setup. Norbert has the second op at A. Mo is going to have his in window and mid for the moment.
Well, we've got Hobbit taking out Mo early enough on, but just curious as to...
Radio broadcast, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, radio broadcast. Well, I was also lagging out a little bit in GoTV, so I think it's a GoTV issue more than anything. It's caught up now, so we are still in it. I'll give you the situation. Mo and Norbert have gone down. Nafany's fallen as well, but was unjustified in death as Hobbits and Shiro were able to take the advantage for Gambit. Right now, you've got Fame back towards CT Spawn watching up through the vents. Adren's forward and underneath of Shadow at A, but the bomb in the hands of Enters is heading over to Nelian, who's alone at B, and Axal, Shiro, and Hobbits are all going to be in that position because they're heading that way, Gambit. Hobbit again is going to be working out from Catwalk, so it's a 3-1 split on the B site. Nealon, at least on the balcony, is going to have some aspect of some vision of what's going on as he tries to look in, spots them, backs away, and he has to hold the position, but no rotation yet from Adren or Fame. And this is all about utility now, and he's not got any left, Nealon. He's only got one flash, and he's gone to Axel already, so it should be a bomb plant in B, and Adren and Fame aren't even rotating. So it'll be a save. Jason, I know they get to look at our pretty faces. Not quite as good looking as the game, but Gambit will take this 4-1 on a pretty simple B take in the end.
I had to turn the lighting on. I didn't have my proper angles and shading for all the, facial attributes, cheekbones. This is a nice start from Gambit. 4-1, running things over really, really well. K23 not able to string it together. And you could see we did have some GoTV connection issues, although ours is still working great, which is lovely.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I feel like, because that's obviously the connection issue for the production side, but it did lag for me for a minute, but then we got back underway. They're trying to hunt Adren at this point in time. But round over, Gambit take a 4-1 lead. As we said, Adren the only one to save a gun. The money not really that solid right now for K23, so that'll be the only weapon in play. Saving this one, though, they're at 39.50 on Nealon. You've got okay, they're going to go Deagles. I was going to say they have enough that they'll no matter what be able to buy in the next round. So they are going to force up a few Deagles around this. Some armor as well on Fame and Nealon. And we'll see if Gambit can find a 5-1 lead against this or if something crazy can happen.
Over in Palace, Enters and Hobbit. There we are. We're back. Back in the room.
Perfect.
Yeah, Gambit's looking for any aggression. They're looking for some kind of a play that K23 is going to make to try and get into this round with the Deagles, with the single M4 that they've saved up. That M4 is over in jungle at the moment. Can keep an eye on Connector, can keep an eye on Window Room. Pop flash for his teammates to take over A ramp. Norbert sees absolutely nothing, but that flashbang's been heard by Inter, so he's passing it over to his team right now that they've just cleared and taken A ramp. But they know there's not a whole lot of pressure on this side of the map, so you can see Gambit moving up Catwalk slowly but surely. Smoke in top con, Smoke also at the corner of Catwalk, and Adren is going investigating. He's taking some big risks, and you can understand why. He's trying to find the way back into this round for his team.
I think he actually wanted to try and make the jump to the fence, but failed it. Head hit the top of the window, and that means he falls down to the underpass as Nealon is inside of the site. Job, you have to say, he gets 2 already on the Deagle, tried to swing out and find Nafny. They can't plant the bomb just yet, though, because there's no utility toward Catwalk, but Shiro does get Adren. That would allow hits. Fame removed immediately as Nafny finds his second kill in the round. Leaves just Norbert in the apartments. He's going to try and work in, Deagle in his hand, but he'll get shut down as well, and it's Gambit that go up 5-1.
Yes, indeed. Nice, strong lead on a map that they love, that they've picked. So it makes sense. Op is going to come back out on Mo. And I think we're going to get a tech timeout real quick, just as we're going to make sure everything's all good with the production side of things.
Yeah, make sure you guys at home are all caught up on things as well. Make sure you don't miss any more of the action. The round you missed wasn't all that eventful, really. A B hit, pretty straightforward. Safe gun by a Dren. Saw the last one, and now we'll see a buy, as I mentioned as well. Right back into it. And I suspect we'll see an AWP battle between Shiro and Mo as a response to that as well. Jason? Maybe not directly one-on-one per se in terms of position, but they'll both have them.
Yeah, and we'll see where they're able to put them into play as well. It was that double up setup last time for the CT side. That's obviously been ripped out of their hands. We'll see if K23 can mount any kind of a defense. I mean, this Gambit attack on this map, you mentioned they lost to Navi yesterday. That was a tough map that could have gone either way between the two teams. So it's not nearly as I don't want to say easy, but it's not nearly as likely. This is one of the better win percentages that Gambit has as well. That was a great members, electronic, bit, and simple all delivered in that map, and that's kind of what it takes to overcome Gambit on Mirage. Is just a huge multiplayer performance. Shiro starting out good here with 10 kills, and that's kind of all there is really. He's far and away top fragger, especially compared to K23. Highest there is Mo with 4, as you can see.
Yeah, that's awesome for Shiro as well, considering last game he didn't really get it going too hard early on, and Axel continues to be very impressive as well.
We're getting the already sign.
After you, sir.
We're getting the already sign, so we're good to go.
Nice.
We're back into the game. It's live.
So you can see it on your screen now, the purchase from either side. The lost round bonus is built up to a maximum for KS23. My God, I'm still having Tarkov nightmares calling it KS23. K23. Mo hit it earlier on his first attempt, but now he holds the underpass instead with the AWP, and it's always one of those compromising situations where you want to be in mid, you want to get that cap position to see inside of the smokes. Get there quicker than you're expected to be, but now he has to hold below, and Dylan does spot them coming to the base, smokes himself back and tries to flash over the truck, but they don't go that direction. They actually bypass it completely. That means Fame is in a world of trouble because he's not anticipating them to be inside the scene quite so effectively and aggressively as Navi gets one back, but Adren has at least got the trade. Shiro, he'll hold with an AWP directly inside of the site, as we see him do very, very often, staring at the checker doorway. And no one coming from the apartment's position means that he's going to be quite comfortable to stay there the entire time. Shoulder bait twice. Takes the shot out of him, but he goes back for more. And found and left on the floor. Shiro then goes to the window and gets Norbert's. And Mo is going to go to the wall and run away.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's a real powerful hit. Players initially jumping out of the window, not necessarily even going to clear out the bomb site. When the defensive smoke comes out from Nealon, they kind of bypass it and push to the other side of the bomb site. They go take out the rotator. The second player trying to come in to help Nealon is picked off for free, and then the bomb site is truly lost. That's really difficult to handle. 6-1. And Gambit now winning in a variety. That kill right there. Nafi just going close to the smokes, and then they both wrap around the site together. And Shiro's able to have a field day. Isolate all the fights. He's able to have all the time in the world to reposition and reload his AWP. Back to Deagles for K23 as they're desperately trying to get a handle on this Gambit attack, but at the moment, it's not looking good.
Oh, Hobbit. Just staples Adren to the wall. That's payback for the 2 kills earlier on. And Norbert walking in, scurrying away, does not expect the second player to be in that position, but down goes time. Mo on the other side of the map will get Hobbit down, so he still has an AK to play with. 2 kills in this round. The only 2 so far for K23 as the bomb gets planted. Round is secure. The question is this AK safe in his hands? He'd love to have that on the CT side. But Gambit, just as Duncan and you both said at the start of this, looking very, very consistent on Mirage.
Yeah, it's a great map for them. I think it just lends itself to a lot of strengths. Mo should be able to survive with this AK-47. I don't think anyone's really close to even discovering that position. No one's super dedicated to the hunt either on the Gambit side of things. So, 7-1. Really, really dominant performance for Gambit so far. And we're seeing in to get aggressive, right? We've seen Mo drop into the underpass with the AWP. We've seen them trying to make the catwalk jump a couple times. Some of those kind of aggressive stances in those positions to find an opening kill early on in the rounds just haven't been paying off. We've seen Mo get one of those towards top mid. That was, I believe, the first gun round, the only round that K23 has won.
Yeah, he seems to be instrumental piece on the CT side for K23. We saw that at Inferno as well, but you're right. He went to the underpass and he's going to go it again, but he hasn't been able to make that jump consistently. Now, there's no smokes mid this time. He's still staring that direction because they've got 2 rifles to hold the top side for him. But they better hope they win that exchange, because otherwise they've got to book it through the underpass and hope no one's waiting for them on the other side, or somehow fall into connector without a player at top mid to still be there and take them down. So for now, we aren't going to see that battle because it's going to be a 3-2 split, and a lot of information at B is about to be found out by Gambit as they walk in. Molotovs and smokes down, clearing all the positions, but they won't go too much further.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're K23, you know this bomb site is clear of all defense. You know you have no one here, so you're kind of in a panic, thinking you have to get over there and maybe start setting up for a retake, which is why we've seen the massive over-rotation. And Gambit has seen and heard nothing at the B bomb site, so now they're starting to investigate A, and they've got a kill, and the bomb site is wide open.
Mo now catwalk, trying to do what he can with the angle he's been presented, given that the rotation was already happening. Fame's going to rotate back, push through. Maybe with timing, yes, he does. Right through it, knowing that they're still trying to execute one of the site. Hobbit instead finds a kill on a Fame, and Shiro follows up to get Norbert down as Nealon, the only one to get a kill in response so far, will shut down Inters. Try desperately to do more than that, but from Ticket Booth, he'll start to fall off the angle. Doesn't want utility thrown at him. And as Mo gets a kill on Axel way over toward B with the AWP, this round looking more and more like a save as well, unless Nealon somehow is gifted an opportunity to walk back in late. We have seen...
Now we're really going back. God bless. That's back.
That's a famous one, all right?
Yeah, it's 5 years ago.
Jason, I said
I'm
this
not against
last week
it
as well.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying.
No, I said this to Flaren now last week. We're old now. We're allowed to make throwback references, okay? We are the boomers of Counter-Strike.
The good old days of half a decade ago. Man, that round, I don't know if a desperation is the right word, but you can see how kind of uncomfortable K23 is right now, and lack of confidence perhaps in some of the setups that they normally would run against some other teams. They're I mean, just leaning so heavily towards mid, no defense in the B bomb site, and Gambit just pulls them in every direction across the map. That was kind of a thing of beauty. Mo jumps up for an aggressive pick in the B halls, but misses his chance. And it's a stalemate. So AWP and M4 brought into this round. Pistols upgraded around it.
Ooh, Shiro, that was desperately close to the head of Nealon, who falls off the angle now as Nafany instead will hold the top boxes. Watch Axel coming out again from underpass. Down goes Nealon. Collide, and it's Axel that gets the better of it, but Mo thankfully gets a response. Fame's going to clear out a cave. So at least get some information back. Or K23. Hobbit, though, Norbert trying to find aggressive, and they're just going to keep pushing all the extremities at this point to try and get something for them. And Adren has. He's got an AK. There's an AWP and an AK now in the map, and head armor as well for Adren. He's well equipped in this round. The one thing they don't currently have is a kit. So if a plant and a good execution comes in from Gambit, might be in an okay position. Mo, that could have won them the round alone as Hobbit busts through and takes down 2. To the site they go, and Adren is in race, trying to beat them to the position, but Shiro's got the op looking directly toward the jungle, and he'll be put in his place.
Yeah, they're rolling now. Nothing K23 can do is slowing him up at all. There's nothing they can throw in the way of this Gambit machine that just keeps moving forward. This is starting to get disgusting. They'll try again. My lord, I don't know if this is a misbuy or not. I have to assume it is. We've got a double op and an auto sniper on the CT side. We'll take it. It'll probably work, you know, with the way things go. Opening pick for Navi. There's the auto sniper with 1 kill, and Axile going to follow up next. It's a 3-on-4 in the favor of K23. Still the auto sniper and the AWP in play. Nealon and Mo had a lot of pressure put on them, but they backed away slowly, and Shiro's still in middle as well. But the defense at the moment is pretty content to play passively. Nobody looking for information just yet.
Ooh, that's shoulder peek. I think they spotted each other. There's a right eye peek in both directions, so backing off the angle is Norbert. But you're right, they've got the man advantage this time, so they don't want to do anything unnecessary. And it's a 2-2 split, so they'll look to work on off of their respective teammates in each site. Shiro, though, getting through into mid, inside of the window. Now, the vent not broken out uncharacteristically, because normally the CTs take that out at the start of the round, means he can't really go any further. If he tries to sneak through and flank more, that noise is going to be very audible, and Mo's even checking this at this position with, or at this point, excuse me, with the AW. But he has the same problem in return. Not that I recommend crawling through there as a CT ever, in my opinion, but late round, that is, obviously.
It's got the name for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. The murder hole for an absolute reason is Norbert's auto sniper catches, enters. That's the bomb trying to get inside of the site. 12 seconds. They may not have this. In fact, they definitely don't now. Crossfire set up. Shiro can't spin fast enough to find Adren. And K23 will get finally their second round of the game.
Oh, and they picked up the auto sniper. They're back. He's like, yeah, I got a triple kill with it. I'll take it again. 9-2, 7-round lead for Gambit. But yeah, you got to have a smile on your face after that. Mistaken by, I believe, into a round victory. Some old school auto sniper action. Here we go. Round 12. Norbert's going to take the Dak to the A-bomb site. Mo again in middle with the AWP. I believe he just got a leg shot on the Hobbit as well, but that's a great kill from Exile. Oh, and it all falls apart. Willing to take that duel against the auto sniper and completely annihilated. Norbert, Mo, and Adren all fall so quickly and the round's over.
That is a stupendous entry. Every single shot was hit. Gambit showing off the individual skill rather than just any tactical gameplay. They just, in the duels, call it done. Famed, a little boost inside a checker, but Shiro knows that angle all too well and peeks back out with the AWP to take him down through the edge of the smoke. Nealon's isolated as well, an underpass, and they'll hear him running in this direction as already you've got Hobbit waiting for him to arrive. Might have been able to get the kill with the AUG, but Gambit respond, and it's now 10-2. Formerly, in the old economy system, Jason, this would have been a hard reset, and that would have been the end of the half in terms of K23's chances with weapons, but now, obviously, this just knocks them back one round, and they'll still be able to get back into this, in terms of economy, get back into this quickly, because the scoreline, that's a different story, I think.
Yeah, a bit forgiving in terms of the money, certainly. And I mean, just the prevalence now of these kinds of buys where you have an SMG, you spend about, $1,500, $2,000 and able to have a pretty deadly investment. I say deadly, but I don't know. Gambit is rolling so hard right now. Even these rounds that K23 was dangerous on Inferno seem like it's no issue here on Mirage at the very least. Gambit is just, they're all in sync. There's Nealon with a nice headshot onto Exile, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm pretty confident it won't be enough. Understand?
You're allowed to have a few of them, right?
Yeah. I'm sure we can top it.
Behind. Now it might be enough. They'll get an AK picked up. All guns ablazing because everyone's got one to work with. Neil is going to rotate over as well, heading back. Molotov at his feet. Further Ren means is fighting solo, and he gets pulled out into a 1v2. Eventually, Shiro gets the AWP into the backside of Nealon. Headshots for the AWP as well. Not too bad. 11-2 for Gambit.
What are you supposed to do? Shiro's having himself such a game. 20-4 here on Mirage.
Yeah, he's looking sick on this AWP. T side as well, which is super encouraging.
Yeah,
so much space for his teammates.
It feels like there's been some other players who've had some like good rounds and some cool impacts and some good double kills here and there, but Shiro's just been so consistent, just racking them up. Okay, maybe it wasn't a mistaken buy because they've gone right back to it. Auto sniper on Norbert, double op on Fame and Mo.
Jesus, that's about as aggressive as you can get on a purchase, right? You're down 11-2, might as well just bring out everything.
Yeah, well, maybe it was a mistake. Like, hey, that actually worked. Let's go back to it. Let's mistakenly buy it on purpose. It's expensive, though, and there's no utility really to help out behind it.
It's like my first day of art school. The most important make it look intentional.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing, Jason. They've made it look very intentional this round. Norbert's got Hobbit down. Shiro left in a 1 versus 4, and he'll be found by the AWP. 11-3, K23 making this slightly better. 11-4 is a workable scoreline, believe it or not. Although with Gambit against you, I'm not sure I'd have too much confidence in it, but you've got to look for some positives.
Yeah, some games it's workable. It doesn't feel like this is one of those games. Now, the last time Gambit ran into this this strategy, they lost the first round to the double within the first 20 seconds of the round. And that was at the A-bomb site. That was with some aggression out ramp and halls. And that's a very real possibility here again in this round.
Toward the A side, 3 rotating in. Hobbit and Shiro combined to take out Norbert, though, and those 3 rotating in from the stairs and from Connector need to be very swift in finding kills. So far, it's working out. In fact, Nealon, I thought he might get Hobbit with a wide swing. Nafany's actually, throwing a nade and taking out Shiro, so they've given a bit back. But is it enough as it still falls to a 1-2? Adren's got it all to play for, and it's on to Hobbit as he has to rotate the bomb all the way back over to B. He'll swing this middle, but I think he'll be safer going for the plant, and Adren's heading the wrong direction, so this bomb will go down.
These are the former teammates we touched on as well, former major winners on the same team. How much does Adren remember around how Hobbit likes to play these rounds? At the moment, he's not really committed to either side. He's playing it pretty neutral, pretty safe, just staying in the middle of the map so he can have a fast rotation and quickly check on the A-bomb site. Hears nothing, sees nothing, and now he's got the intel. But, I mean, this is too long for him to walk. But he's got to be cautious because Hobbit can hear the footsteps.
He can, but he's going to sneak his way in toward Checker. Hobbit, crazy corner. Be able to see both entry points in a similar fashion, and it's going to be the door instead. He's got to make sure he's looking the right way, though. He's not! Adren easily takes him down. Tons of time for the defuse, and we go 11-4 as finally K23 will get back-to-back rounds.
Perhaps some mispositioning there for Hobbit.
Yeah, too many uncertainties, I think.
Yeah, having to worry about both angles.
So 21-6 for Shiro. He ends the first half in style. Mo leads the way with 12 on the K23 side. I think that is about as grim as a picture as the scoreline is in terms of kill distribution. As we look in on our brand new, first time ever, Keller TV. It's great to have you with us in full
HD.
definition. Wow. Got news for you. The next millennium's got some pretty good HD comparatively. Backs out, holding out. Catwalk will take out Mo. Sees the jump to window. Now that's increased for Hobbit, and he makes good work of it. As Nafany also getting a kill is going to leave Hobbit to find 3 in the round. Not a bad job at all from him inside of the site.
No, not at all. And again, just that pistol round just made to look easy. 12-4 for Gambit. And if K23 can't turn the second round in their favor, I think Gambit's just going to run away with it.
See if they can convert it again this time as well. Shiro working toward the top of middle. He's going to get taken down. Fame fell first, though, to Hobbit. And Exile still good position. Catwalk not quite up on the fence, but enough to see over the smoke. Knows Norbert's flirting with the edge of the boxes. The need to even try and piss him off, get him angry, take some HP, and force him to peek, but he's not going to do it just yet. That'll be frustrating for the CTs, who now have problems inside of the site because we can... Oh, no, Hobbit. Oh, no, Hobbit. He had no idea. Good play from Nealon.
I can't believe Nealon kept his nerve for that entire route, crouching the entire direction. Oh, he's got a second. Exile's fighting back, but low HP. And I think they're going to just entirely back away. They've already called the save.
Yep.
Inter's back to the B bomb site. It's all on Nealon, creeping up that A bomb site the entire way, and Hobbit never spotted him. That's wild. I mean, not a huge risk considering the scoreline of the match and considering it's round number 2, but I mean that's bold. No, 12-5, and Gambit's gonna have to wait to get back to the gun rounds. They'll buy around these 2 M4s, you'd imagine, but K23's been able to salvage what 2-3 weapons in this round. They're loving it. They're living the dream. Well, maybe not the dream.
Yeah, it's still not, a great scoreline, right? 12-5. It's not any dream that I've had.
I was going to say it'd be an odd to have a dream that sucked as much as this scoreline.
I mean, if they make it a comeback, it would be a pretty dream situation. This was great from Nealon, as you're right. Held his nerve, crept in the sight the entire time, and then using Hobbit's M4, he executes one of Hobbit's teammates with it. So, betrayal fitting to the gun, but good play from Nealon overall. Bypass the vents as well on the CT position, so those will stay intact. No, I take it back. Excuse me. They've got direction. Mo. Straight contact play at Tetris, but a good response from Hobbit. Now, he'll be tantalized by that gun to try and go forward and grab it, but if he does, he'll be watched by Nealon, and he knew exactly what was going to happen there. He knew that he had to protect the rifle. Shiro, great shot on the Deagle, responds by taking down Fame, and we sit 3 aside with 2 M4s still in play. Hero's already got one with that Deagle, is looking pretty promising as Norbert now tries to walk and make contact from the other side of the map. Adren, we caught it late to take down Exile. And Norbert's contact against Shiro seemingly works well. Enters to save already. It's going to now be 12-6.
Okay, here's that fight back that we expected. Or not that we expected, but that we were hoping for. See if they can build upon it. So a couple easy rounds against Gambit to close the gap in the scoreline. And Enters, once again, just going to have to save the M4. I like Nealon's play right now. I like watching Nealon from back on Inferno now here to Mirage. I think he's been really cool. Like I said, I think this is the first time we've actually casted K23 in this event, so it's been fun to watch a couple new players that we haven't seen this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen a lot of individuals step up. I mean, even go to 100 Pin Gods. You had Winter looking great. Gary's been quite good on Forze, and then, yeah, there's been a lot of skill even on the Entropic side. Forze, yeah, I'm making fun of the voiceover at the start, all right?
I know.
So it's Forze forever now, okay?
We might have to just keep it that way.
Maybe I think he actually said Forze.
Forze?
I think it was Forze.
Forze does sound like a little bit more elegant.
Yeah, let's not give them that.
Timeouts coming to an end. Round 19 about to be underway. But shouldn't be too much fight for Gambit. Everyone's sitting right around 2K. Shiro's going to try and save as much money for the AWP to come out. Hobbit's now up to 20 kills as well, joining Shiro towards the top.
So, P90 for Mo. Gambit stopped and halted in their tracks, having not converted from the pistol. Now have to just wait this one out a little bit longer to get full guns back into the picture. Norbert will hold at the ladder position for the T's, which is a fantastic amount of map control already. Is he just going to climb up the window and crawl into the window? Mo, outside of it, also has this position covered off, and We're not sure which is better. Norbert doesn't want to have to drop down, so he'll leave Mo to jump through instead, and he'll go back toward Cat, toward B. Enters with that gun, does get the first. Mo's gonna go, jumping, and the quick switch. Double whammy that's gonna cost them dearly as the P90 runs through and finds Hobbit as well, and Mo will immediately grab the M4 from the floor and try and find the remaining kills on both Nafni and Exile. We're both over toward B at this point. Bomb's gonna rotate through T-spawn, and this one is done as well, I think, Jason.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Inters he even knew what fight was coming next, just missed the timing on it. He knew the follow-up was the jump through the window. A little unfortunate. But so much map control gained just simply because Gambit didn't have the weapons to actually fight for anything. Just all USPs, you got to give up a lot of ground. So 12-7. K23